Do you understand rich people? This is really, really critical in my mind for service businesses and so underutilized. 9 out of 10 small businesses undercharge. When was the last time you raised your prices? Sell expensive things to people who can afford them. I'm going to tell you how to make any of these make sense to you so you can apply it to your business and your life right after this. This is the Big Deal podcast, and I'm Codie Sanchez. Welcome back. Today, we're talking to you builders about how to make more money. I call this the sell things to rich people, they pay more. And I know that's true and it's cute, but is it so easy? Having sold clients who are both not so rich and rich, there is a truth to this meme, which I want to read to you. You can see it here. It says, $500 client. I just feel as though with this investment I'm about to make in you, that you should understand how our lives are about to change. And I need results and you need to bring them, and I'm entrusting you with our livelihood and lives. $50,000 client. Money sent, thanks. Anybody who's been in business kind of chuckles at this, except it's true. Now, here's why I understand the $500 client. You have to remember that they need that $500 to do something for them. They actually have a visceral need. That might be what's called last dollar for them. They need the return on that dollar to be so significant that they hold you to a level that is actually irrational. And so you don't want to just sell things to rich people because you're greedy. You want to sell things to rich people maybe even because you're not the best to begin with. In order to sell things to people who don't have a lot of money, you have to sell a huge amount of volume to be able to live. Volume is hard to get when you're not a very good operator. So rich people want you to sell them something. Remember that and use it to your advantage. There are two worlds of entrepreneurships. One world, scraps, selling cheap products to price-sensitive customers who churn the moment they find a discount. In the second world, sell fewer, better things for more money. That volume game can work. It's built some of the biggest business empires out there, Walmart, Amazon, McDonald's. 3 small issues, though. The game is brutally competitive. It requires you to be airtight in your operations and infrastructure, and even the best eventually move into higher margin products. So a different path. Sell expensive things to people who can afford them. The question you need to ask yourself is, when was the last time you raised your prices? Our guess, 9 out of 10 small businesses undercharge. Why? Scary not to. If you start to realize wealthy customers want to be sold, your entire business can change. The question, though, is, what do rich people actually buy? There are 5 reasons rich people buy. Only 5. Every single reason falls into this hierarchy that I call the rich desire pyramid and teach to all of our portfolio companies. Number 1, status. Status means make me look important. It's the top of the pyramid. How do you sell it? You position your business as the best, not the cheapest. When they ask, well, can I get a discount? You say, well, you could, but you might regret buying from that guy. Why don't you just pay a pro now as opposed to regret an amateur later? You showcase expertise, exclusivity, and premium service. What are companies that do this really well? Because I always like to imitate, then I iterate, then I innovate. So you might want to imitate some of the marketing of Hermes. Limited run purses that are mostly handmade, although I hear there's some confusion about that by China right now, but let's stick with the plot, which is one person makes each item from start to finish. It's special and it's a signal. When you carry a Birkin bag, you are saying something. No one who buys a Birkin bag is trying to ask for discounts. This is a customer that actually wants to pay more for the alligator extra ridiculous thing on top. Except, is it ridiculous if they want to pay for it? In fact, I think you have to flip your brain about that. Number 2 in the pyramid is convenience. That means make my life easier. So if you think about rich people, if they have an infinite amount of money, they can buy almost anything, right? Except more time. So if you can do something that allows them to buy back their time, they will pay you for it, potentially up to a complete no cap at the top, which I really like. So how do you sell something like this? Well, you eliminate friction. That would be things like white glove service, subscriptions, concierge treatment, private jets, fast and expensive. For instance, if you go to all major airlines, but we'll use Delta as an example, Delta has really two classes of tickets, right? They have main cabin and they have first class. So you might think that the really special people go to first class. Well, actually, the really special people go to first class and then they get Delta Concierge, which is somewhere between $500 and $1,000 for somebody to get them from the front of the airport, drive them around to the back, let them load up first and privately, and it's for no different experience. No different product is sold there as far as the seat. It is literally just that it increases convenience for them. So that is what you need to think about in your business. If right now you have a landscaping service, why wouldn't you add a white glove offering to the top? What might white glove mean? It might mean, hey, one of our portfolio companies, we said, what about for new homeowners in really expensive suburban neighborhoods? What if you as their landscaping service said, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, I know you're new here. We're happy to give you a landscaping quote and to do your landscaping for you. Also, we have a group of 5 other of the top tier service providers in your area. So if you need somebody for cleaning, I can make a recommendation. If you need somebody for window washing, roofing, interior design, we have a Rolodex, and I can literally do a white glove introduction for you to all of those people. And what do you do on that? You actually take an affiliate cut on everybody. So this is not as scalable, but remember, because you have big margins and because you create convenience, you can have a very sexy business doing white glove service of existing services. By the way, if you're building a business right now and you're stuck or you want to break out to the next level, maybe you're not where you want to be today. Believe me, I've been there many, many times. I want you to know I got you. We help thousands of business owners a year figure out how to scale to the next level. One of my favorite mentors said, every level you have, there's just a higher level and a higher devil. And so if you've been in business for a while and you're doing 6, 7, or 8 figures, there's probably one thing standing in the way of your next level. That's why we host growth and scale workshops 4 times a year throughout the year in Austin, in Miami, in San Diego, and you may be a fit to come to one of them. If it sounds interesting to you to get help on how to scale your business to the next level, you can reach out to my team at the link in the show notes. We believe in you builders, but we also believe that it's a lonely road and you can't do it by yourself. Number 3, exclusivity. Let me in, keep others out. That's what they're saying. This is why there are private members clubs. This is why there are golf courses, because rich people want to feel special, good, bad, or otherwise, like them or don't like them. This is something that people want when they have a lot of money to buy. So how do you sell it? Restrict access, invite-only services, VIP tiers. This creates demand. Think about it like, I don't know, have you guys ever heard of Tiger 21? Tiger 21 is a fascinating community. You have to have $20 million in net worth to be in a community that you pay $30,000 for a year, and they validate your income. They will not let you in unless they can validate your income and also your net worth. How fascinating is that? And then you are in a room a couple times a year with only other people that are worth $20 million or above. They don't want any other people in it, so they charge you a premium for only allowing access to other people just like them. We can hate this and think it's elitist, or we can use it and get rich. It's really up to you. Number 4, privacy. Give me some space. So often, once you have a lot of money, other things come with that. For instance, now that I'm public on the internet, there's lots of people that get doxxed, right? So they want to make sure that they're protected. There are entire services for scrubbing all of your information off of the internet. There are services that scrub your businesses off the internet. Don't tell people about them. Supposedly there's quite a few celebrities who scrub their children's photos everywhere off the internet. And so as you get more famous and as you get more money, people want things from you. If you're famous, maybe they want your picture, they want access to you, whatever. If you have more money, they want some of it. And so if you can create this privacy buffer space, then you can make a lot of money. So how do you sell it? Well, you offer high trust, high security, high privacy services. A way to do this across the board might be like, I have a cleaning company and I only clean really high-end customers' houses. So all of my cleaning ladies sign NDA policies. They make sure that they understand owner preferences. You can tell us how you want to be communicated with by our cleaners. So you can do this because you allow absolute discretion, which builds loyalty. This is really, really critical in my mind for service businesses and so underutilized. And maybe if you don't have a lot of money right now, this one doesn't make sense to you, but I'm going to tell you how to make any of these make sense to you so you can apply it to your business and your life right after this. 5, scarcity. Make it hard to get. So let's think about this for a second. Why do rich people want something to be hard for other people to get? Well, they want to feel special, right? So at a certain point, if you have all the money in the world, it's not just about other people thinking highly of you. It's about you being able to tell a story about a thing you were able to do or get or see that somebody else couldn't get. It's almost like a rich person pioneer, right? They're like, I want to be the first one to plant my flag on a foreign land. So how do you sell this? You limit availability. You do this on purpose. And let me tell you how rare this is for entrepreneurs to do. What do entrepreneurs want to do? Sell more things to more people again and again and again because they want to make more money. It actually doesn't make sense in your head commonsensically to think, well, maybe I should sell less things at a higher price. But that is what this is. And how you do this is waiting lists, premium tiers, applications, all drive demand. Think about waiting for the brand new shoe drops, or we talked about Birkin bags before. In fact, you want to actually have things that are a real commodity, which means they're limited in quantity. I met a guy, I was at this event, and this was an event for a bunch of rich people. And funny thing about rich people is they have weird hobbies. And so this guy in particular had just exited his second or third SaaS company. And I'm sitting down with him and I'm like, what are you working on right now? Lord, do I wish I hadn't asked that question because I got a soliloquy on crystal marketplaces. He had just started a crystal marketplace. Now this isn't your ordinary woo-woo Austin crystal. He was showing me his crystal collection, which was like, I don't know, $1 million crystals. And I felt like that meme where that like guy is whispering into the girl's ear and she's just dying on the inside as she's listening to him. And that was me with crystals this day. And so he went on and on about how he's bought this $1 million crystal and it couldn't be anywhere else. And this is so special. And I feel like he might've missed the plot about what women care about today because he appeared to be single. But why would he care about that? Because there's only one crystal just like that in the world. There's only one diamond just like that in the world. They're buying into a feeling, a position, a lifestyle. They aren't price sensitive, they're value sensitive. And once you understand this philosophy, you'll be able to sell to rich people. If you want to sell to wealthy customers, you got to ask yourself the rule of two. Does your offer hit at least two of these categories? If you're selling convenience, add exclusivity. If you're selling status, add scarcity. If you're selling privacy, add convenience. Rich people want to spend money, give them a reason to. Here's the difference between the two. Selling cheap means you're going to have price sensitive, high churn. You're going to have harder to scale volume game. You're going to have competitors everywhere. Selling rich means they'll pay a premium for the right product, no price shopping if they trust you, and will keep spending if you deliver. The difference between the two is really one singular idea. Do you understand rich people? And if right now you're like, oh, this sounds great, Cody, but I've never even met a person who could buy a Birkin bag or wouldn't think a $30,000, $50,000, or a $200,000 purse is criminal, then I need you to do something. You see, what changes is when we are around other people who have money, it opens up our eyes to what is possible. And so what I'd like you to do is I would like you to go to somewhere that rich people are. If you're in LA, go to Beverly Hills. I just want you to walk around. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to do anything. Go to a luxury shopping mall. See how they engage with their customers there. Try to engage with the people who are there and see how they treat you versus other customers. What can you do to change the way that they treat you? If you dress a certain way, will they treat you differently? Go and sit in the lobby of the most expensive hotel you can find. Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons. Dress how you think is appropriate. You can bring your own food and drink if you want to. Be sneaky about that. But I want you to watch the people coming in and out of the lobby. How do they engage? If you get a chance, sit and chat with them. One of my friends, Jesse Eitzler, when he had no money before he married Sarah Blakely and they became billionaires and he started NetJets and a bunch of big companies, he used to go to the Beverly Hills Hotel in California. And he had no money then, but he would spend the little money that he had buying the cheapest item on the lunch menu in order to sit at lunch in Hollywood and meet as many people as he could. And every single day he would have a goal of engaging with one or two people there. And then he would see, how do these people engage in life? How do they think about things? How do they build? How do they get opportunities? And he credits those conversations with some of his path to becoming a billionaire. So get around rich people, sell to rich people, you will make more money. See you next week. I believe you are capable of building big, beautiful companies. Hey, I have something special for you for being such a loyal listener because you're here with me all the time. I get asked by a bunch of you, how do I tell if I should buy a business or not? Should you buy a business or not? What price should you buy a business at? How do you structure your deal? I got you, fam. So I'm going to gift you our deal calculator. Every time I look at a deal, I grab the numbers, plug it in here, and see how much money I could make or lose if I did a good or bad deal. So this is my gift to you. And if you're serious about buying a business, we want to help you. You can talk to my team about if you're a fit for our business buying community or curriculum. No matter what, here's your free gift. And if you need a hand to hold, I got you too. Hey crew, this is so cool. The podcast is growing like crazy, and it's only actually because of one thing, you. I don't know if you know this, but the only way the Big Deal Pod grows is when you share it with somebody else. We don't do ads, we don't do pay for play, we don't go on other people's podcasts and talk about it. So if you think there was something helpful here, if we made you money, we made you think about your business or life differently, the most beautiful thing you can do for me is share it. And the most beautiful thing you can do for someone that you care about is to share it with them, help them grow alongside you. So please share the pod. That's how we grow. And also tag me on anything you share. I love resharing other builders across Instagram, Twitter, and all other platforms. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You're super important to me. You are set on not living a boring life.
I'm going to go mountain biking. I'm going to sauna cold plunge. I'm going to work out. And if I have time, I'll work in between. And that's just very simple. And some people are like, you're crazy for doing that. I'm like, you're crazy for not doing that. I think it comes back to simplicity. We're the ones that put the stress on ourselves with the more stuff that we want. If you want to live a simple life, you can.
Literally the least interesting thing about this next guest is the fact that he just sold his business for a ton of money. And this wasn't even his first business he sold. He sold businesses prior to this. Also, maybe the least interesting thing is that he's partnered with a billionaire, another friend of mine, Jesse Eitzler, who you guys probably know, married to Sarah Blakely and founder of a bunch of other companies. I actually think the most interesting thing about this next guest is that he's going to talk to us about how do you live a not boring life? How do you turn your life into one big series of adventures and fun? Which, quite honestly, when I first think about that, my immediate reaction is like, that must be nice for somebody else, because like I have to work. Like I don't got time for this. I don't know everybody else has got time for all this fun. But by the end of the podcast, he kind of convinced me of 3 things to do differently this year so that I actually have more fun, so my life is less boring, so that if I come to the end of my days, I will be happy that I lived them really fully. So I think this episode is really important from that perspective. He's going to talk a little bit about his crazy adventures, like Everest climbing it, backflipping off of Everest, like climbing multiple other mountains, like going and throwing a party in Antarctica with Diplo. The list is like so long it's ridiculous. But what I hope you take away from Devin Levesque today is that it is actually possible to build 9-figure businesses like a company like ProMix, his company. It is possible to build multiple businesses like Running Man and All Day Running, which he owns as well, while having a farm with a bunch of cool animals on it, having an incredible life, living in multiple locations, all while having started by putting up drywall. Just like his father had, working in construction. And so I think this is a great episode of a dude who just said, I'm going to construct my life and I'm not going to let anybody get in my fucking way to do it. I hope you enjoy this episode with Devin Levesque. So I was reading some statistics.
Yes.
We'll see if it's true or not. 800 people attempt to hike Everest every year. Only 50% make it. 5 to 20 people die in the pursuit. And you just hiked Everest, summited it, but you also almost fell off the mountain, or you did fall off the mountain. Can you tell me about that?
Yes. So summited on May 21st, which statistically is the most common day to summit in history. Yeah. Since 1953, Tenzing, Norway, and Sir Edmund Hillary summited the first time, as they say. And since then, May 21st has been. And so I summited on the 21st. When I did a backflip off the top, and so it looked like I almost fell off, but I didn't. I was clipped in, so that's good. And then I started descending down.
Wait, so wait a second. You get to the top of Everest, which takes you how many days?
47.
Wait, it takes you 47 days?
Yeah.
Holy hell.
I know.
Okay, so.
Wild. I got homesick. Nina, my girlfriend, came with me to base camp, which was a great 2-week experience. And then after that, you acclimate, you go up and down through the Kumbo Icefall, try to just, acclimate and get used to kind of what's out there.
But when you're at the top after 47 days of hikes, and my understanding is you have to push really hard for the summit because there's like a window.
Yeah, sometimes never a window.
Right.
Yeah, we got lucky. I mean, there was a open, clear bluebird day, and that's where you see everyone trying to, attempting. Everyone's trying to gauge what time to leave, what day, because 5, 10, 20 mile per hour winds, really 20, you're done. But 5, 10 mile an hour changes the temperature drastically. So it can go from 0 degrees or negative 10 degrees to negative 50 quick. Oof. And if you're up there when that happens, you know, it's tough to get back down.
It's
you know,
not good.
There's no helicopters after Camp 2. Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3, Camp 4, Summit. After Camp 2, it's no man's land. It's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
And so, and you're not just worried about the weather, you're also worried about your health. You're worried about your gear. You're worried about, you know, your guide, your Sherpa. You're worried about yourself, your mental state. You're worried about the Nepalese. Look, some are super nice and some are a little sketchy. You know, there is, you know, known cases where they'll cut your lines and, you know, push you off. And that's not just Nepalese, that can be foreigners as well, but it's a free for all, you know, and
why?
And who's going to catch you, you know, at 25,000 feet pushing or cutting someone off. So look, I don't know most of these people and I just don't, I wasn't trying to trust anyone that close, you know, God forbid something happened. So I think there's a lot of things going through your brain while you're up there. But after I summited, I was descending down and I must have been at, 28,000 feet where the Hillary step is. I went over it and, 20 minutes later, the whole thing collapsed and people fell off. They fell thousands of feet down and dead. So yeah, they're still out there. Unfortunately, God bless them and their families. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, so
you're not only battling the mountain, you're battling humans. Yeah,
humans, the mountain, health, yourself, gear, your oxygen, weather, God, the Himalayas. You're just there's so many factors. It's not just, I've climbed a couple 14ers in Colorado. I can go do Everest. That's not, that's not what it is.
Not the same thing.
Yeah.
And obviously I've hiked one mountain ever, Mount Baker, and that was like scary enough for me. And but I remember when we were talking in the sauna, you were explaining how like there's portions of the mountain where they're almost vertical. Well, they are vertical, I'm sure.
Yep.
And you have to be careful that other people aren't sort of falling down on you. And you have to
rubble.
Or rubble or whatever.
Rocks.
And there was a story you were kind of telling me about somebody who wasn't clipped in.
Yes. Yeah. So that was from Camp 2 to Camp 3, say about 22,000 feet up. There was a storm that came up. I was making my push to Summit at the time. So I was going up. And once the storm came in, you have to make a decision to come down and redo that hike all again the next day or at all, or just keep going. And there was no weather patterns that extreme in the forecast. And so, I said to Jen and Dr. John, I was like, let's keep going. And, they questioned it for a sec, but, they kind of agreed. They're like, yeah, we think this is going to pass as well. So I kept going up. We kept going up and we're on this ledge. And, it's about, 1,000-foot drop below you. You're standing on, a couple inches, of snow. And now those people are coming at you. And you have to make your way around them. So you have to clip in one side, clip in the other, go around them, unclip one side, and you have to do that to every person. And one of the girls that was coming down, I didn't know it was a girl at the time. It was two people coming towards me on this, this couple inches on this ledge. She was clipped to her Sherpa, and the Sherpa goes to clip around me, and he didn't clip, and she happened to fall. But they were clipped together, and so she pulled the guy right in front of me. So they both fell. And instincts, I just grabbed the rope, and they were just dangling there. And I think, obviously, if I didn't grab that, they wouldn't be with us anymore. But they stuck their feet in, and pulled themselves up. And I remember the girl I saw her hair, and she just looks at me, and I'm like. She's like, thank you. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this is crazy right now. And 10 seconds later, I fell. And I remember I fell, I was clipped in and I fell, 4 feet. But those seconds, I was just like, shit. I said, shit. I was like, shit. And it caught me and I was just dangling there. And all I was thinking about was, really, Devin, shit was going to be your last word? Like, that's what you were going to say? The last things you say on earth was shit?
Profound.
And so I'll always remember that. That was scary. My heart dropped. I pulled myself up. But I mean, it's just scary up there. You don't know the weather. You don't know the people. Everyone's from all over the world. Some people are out there for certain, intentions. Some people are out there for others, and you just don't know. It's a total no man's land out there. And you're just so tired and exhausted and homesick, and it's just crazy. I would never go back. It's not really my jam. I also, a lot of, I don't want to, put this category out there, but a lot of people that are on the mountains, a lot of men and women that I met are single. I'm a family guy. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I love being around my community. There's a lot of lone wolves out there that are just out there, and which is fine, but conversation is just a lot different with them versus, some of my best friends who have, 3 kids, a wife, and, we have different values in conversation. So, I'm not saying I'm not about the mountaineering community, but there's definitely a lot of lone wolves when you start to go to these, more profound mountains and high altitude places.
Oh, I can only imagine. I remember we kind of got right when COVID had hit and was done, actually. So quarantine was over, whatever. Our guide was an Everest guide, but he hadn't hiked or climbed or whatever the appropriate term is for all of COVID because they were shut down. And he lived right outside Mount Baker, which is where we're going. So he ended up being our guide, but he was this hard ass, right? He's with like 7 chicks like me. We're like, like no fucking idea what we're doing. Never done a mountain, shoes breaking. We're a total nightmare. This guy must have hated his life. But it was really interesting talking to him because he was exactly that. Like he was one like, God, Mount Baker's for pussies. He's like, what are we doing here? He's like, well, why are we even here? And then number 2, I asked him, I'm like, God, how often are you gone? Why do you keep doing this? What drives you? And he was just a very different human. He had like a singular, almost addiction to that climb somehow.
Which is cool. I also put those people in the same category of humans that are in the rat race on Wall Street. It's the same thing. It's just a different industry. You're still trying to climb the biggest mountain and do it the fastest and be out there. And, it's the guys and girls you see on Wall Street that want the bigger deal, want to invest more, want to make more money, want the car. It's the same rat race. And I just don't see that as freedom. Even if you're out in the middle of the mountain by yourself, you still have this mindset of more. Business, more, mountain, more. Like when you're in that, you can't get out of this. You can never be calm. You can never find true calmness if you're always wanting more. And so I think, I noticed that with some people out there as well. Like, man, this isn't calming. I came out here to be calm. I came out here to calm my mind. And
why did you decide to hike Everest?
I've always wanted to do it since I was a kid. I want to see what it feels like to stand at the top of the world. I wanted to see what my body's capable of. I enjoy learning the different gear and, meeting the different cultures and food. I wouldn't recommend Nepalese food, but, I dropped out of college. I used these different high altitude mountains and embedded myself in these cultures as my school. Like this is my learning experience. So, I've had some of the craziest conversations, in Antarctica on Vincent or, on Aconcagua, with, this random, business guy who started this, drink, in Mexico and is now selling it in 7,000 stores. And I'm just like, wow, like I would have never learned this in college, and how is he doing it versus the US? And then I meet this one European who did the same thing, but in Europe. So like it opened your brain into kind of what's out there. So 1, learning, curiosity is big for me. 2, just what is my body capable of? And then 3 is, I speak about this a lot, but Marcus Aurelius has an amazing quote: the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to real strength. And so I want to try things and do things to help calm my brain as much as possible and find calmness, being able to, focus on one thing at a time and being able to turn this guy off when I need to. It's stressful, and I think we grow old fast if this thing is constantly racing. So being able to, add in some calmness and no phone, and no society and no parents telling you what to do and no boss or no one. You're just on a mountain. You're worried about yourself and that other person. You're not worried about likes or views on Instagram. You're not worried about how much money's in your account. You're not worried about, that next big business venture and, if it's delayed or not. You're just worried about staying freaking alive. And it comes back to the simplicity of life. And so that's what I gain on these mountains, is just like simplicity.
Here's a question for you. How much of your life do you actually control? And you got to be honest with yourself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That was Marcus Aurelius. And it's as true now as it was 2,000 years ago. So are you in control of your life, or is it controlling you? Wealth doesn't come from sitting out and sticking to the safety net of your comfort zone. It's built by acquiring equity or owning something, your time, your choices, your assets. The richest people in the world, they know this. The wealthiest demographic of the US right now, ages 55 to 59, understand this concept, and they own the most businesses. That's why this February, I'm hosting a 3-day virtual event that's unlike anything we've ever done before. It's your crash course in taking ownership, from finding the right businesses and spotting opportunities to negotiating deals and securing financing. We're not just talking theory, we're giving you actionable real-world coaching to help you build lasting wealth. This isn't just an event. It's a movement, what we call Owner Nation. If this is interesting to you and you want to acquire businesses, acquire more businesses, or grow your wealth, then I think you should be here. You should go to codiesanchez.com/MSM. There'll be all the information for you. Did you start doing these crazy adventures before you had some money and freedom?
Yes. I would say the first big one was the bear crawl. I wanted to see,
So you didn't have any cash. What were you doing for a living at the time?
I had a training business.
So you were in fitness?
Yep, fitness.
And you were probably not making what you wanted to make? Or just
I was
normal?
happy. I mean, I was living I was making
How
what
old
I
were
needed.
you?
20, it was in 2020, so 5 years ago.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm 32, so 27.
God, you've lived a lot in that.
In the last 5 years,
In the last 5 years.
done a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And before that, you were just quote unquote kind of normal. You hadn't done these crazy adventures.
No, I was running nightclubs in New York City.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a wild progression.
Yeah.
So
And
what?
before that, I was hanging drywall. I was doing construction.
Interesting.
Yep.
So how did you go from hanging construction to having a bunch of businesses, climbing Everest, bear crawling marathons?
Curiosity. I'm just really curious and try to just do my absolute best in every single thing I do, whether I'm pouring you some D-bloat, whether I'm making you a coffee, whether I'm on this podcast, or, going to work out in the gym this morning. Like, I want to do my best every possibility I get. Mm-hmm. And so any opportunities I've had, I think I just give it 110%, no matter what. But, I grew up in a blue collar household, and my dad hung drywall. And then when he passed, I got sent to military academy, got a scholarship to play football and baseball in college, and then dropped out. And I was like, this isn't for me. I started bartending, bar backing, trying to make some money in the hospitality world, and just gave it. I was the best freaking bar back in the world. I was a bartender's best friend. I will make your job as easy as possible. And I told myself, I'm like, look, bar back is, dishwashing and bar back is one of the lowest positions in hospitality, but I'm going to be the best freaking one out there, And then the restaurant owner saw that. He's like, do you want to bartend? I'm like, yes. And then all of a sudden they're like, do you want to manage the place? And I was like, yes. And then all of a sudden I had an opportunity to open my own spot. And so it's literally just giving it 110%, every time.
What would you tell a young Devin today listening to this who's like, man, I don't want to live a boring life. I want to adventure. I want to do incredible things, but I don't really have much. Maybe I'm doing drywall right now too.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
I would say break up with the girl or guy that you're with and go travel around the world and get into hospitality and work at different restaurants around the world, learn different languages, and just be a good, kind human. Be kind, work hard, and just learn and be a sponge. Don't be a know-it-all. Just take it. And in that time, figure out where do you want to be in 5 or 10 years, and then work backwards. Is it a ranch in the middle of Colorado with cows and a wife and kids and, your pickup truck and whatever it is? If that's what it is and that cost X amount of dollars, work backwards. How can you get there, right?
When did you make your first amount of cash?
How did I make my first amount of cash? I mean, I was training people in New York, and so I saved up some good money there, and then I built a training business and sold that, and that's kind of how I made my first million, and then I kind of
Doing
just
kind
started
of a normal business.
very normal, but I had clients,
Yeah.
and I had cash flow with that, and then we had this product, a meal prep, and someone recognized that and they needed those clients. So if you have something that someone needs, you can sell that.
Yeah.
Anything. If you want to drink some water and I have the glass, this is for sale.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think you have a glass.
I have a glass too.
So I don't know. I just think it's creating things you like to do, because I think the passion and what you love is going to take you through the hard days, right? I used to love training people and making, people struggle and sweat and sometimes throw up and get back at it, puke and rally. Like I used to really enjoy and working out with them. I used to enjoy it. I still do sometimes I'll just train my boys for fun and have some fun, but I genuinely enjoyed it. So the days where a client said, "Hey, meet me at 4 a.m." I'm like, frick yeah, like let's go. I'll show up. Let's get it done. Let's get after it. If you don't have that passion, then it's just not
Hard to
it's
compete.
not worth it. Yeah, it's not. You're not going to compete against me if I like to wake up at 4 a.m. and work out, and you don't. But you want to start a training business. Like we're not. Eventually, I'm going to, surpass you. So
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to beat obsession, I think.
it's almost impossible.
Yeah, I can beat intelligence,
Right.
but it's super hard to beat somebody who's more obsessed than I am.
I agree with that.
One of the things I liked too, last we were chatting, is I was saying to you something like, oh, I'm going to do this work thing related. And you were like, yeah, I'm going to Aspen. I'm going skiing tomorrow or something, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you seem to go skiing or things like that a lot.
Yeah.
Why can you do that so often? How do you integrate so much adventure into your life?
Yeah.
Now people might say, well, you're successful. He has money. He can do that. But there's plenty of people who have more money than you or I that do not do that.
Yeah.
But it seems like you are set on not living a boring life.
Yeah, I put it first on the calendar. That if I'm making my calendar throughout the day, I'm going to go mountain biking, I'm going to sauna cold plunge, I'm going to work out, and if I have time, I'll work in between. And it's very simple. And some people are like, you're crazy for doing that. I'm like, you're fucking crazy for not doing that. That is crazy to me that you're not doing the things that you like and you're not having fun. It blows my mind actually when people put work first and money first and like the things they think matter first. And then they're all like, man, I wish I went there. Man, I wish I was mountain biking more. Or I wish I went and travel. So go do it. Put that first and everything else will follow. Okay, maybe your exit is, or your acquisition, you selling the company is delayed a couple of years. But you had fun. At least you had fun, and you put the fun first and the things you love first. People do it backwards.
You're right, we do. Actually, my husband always says there's 100% ROI on fun, which I think is not how my brain works.
Yeah.
But don't you ever worry about, like, what do you say to somebody who's like, but what if I do that and then I can't make enough money or I can't live?
You can make. I can make money selling freaking flowers, training people, going to get a job as a barista. There's a million ways in this world to make money. I could go pick up dirt, put it in a glass jar, holy sand on it and sell the sand. Like it's not that hard to make money. It's very simple to make money in this world, especially in the United States of America. It's the biggest brand on planet Earth, the USA, right? It's not hard, especially if you're in the US. If you're not in the US, I see people make money in Tanzania, Africa, selling random cow hides on the side of the road. Like there's random things that people just do in this world to make money. It's not complicated. It's just do it or don't do it.
Yeah.
And people are afraid, well, that's too much. That's too small amount to make. That's not enough. Well, that's on you then. You know what I mean?
You got to start somewhere.
When I rode my bike across America with a guest you had, Jesse Itzler, it was interesting how many people lived in tents and how many people lived a simple life. And they chose to live the simple life. They chose not to have the bills. They chose not to have, the cars and the watches and the rent in New York City. They chose to live a simple life. We're the ones that put the stress on ourselves with the more stuff that we want or the more things that we want to do, right? We put the stress on ourselves. If you want to live a simple life, you can get a tent, It's $100 on Amazon, if that, and go find somewhere on this earth, because the earth is big. Go live in a tent. You have a fire, you have shelter, you get food. That's it. It's very simple. And we add the stress.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I'd give you shit about that as a thought, except you've actually done it in a bunch of countries and in the U.S. So it's sort of interesting because you spent time in Africa. We were just talking about your drink that you gave me, and you've done this. You've sort of like camped all over the place, and
I've stayed in hostels. I've lived in tents. I've lived in mansions. I've lived in a lot of different types of places, and what I've come down to is simple, like simplicity. I try to clear my closet a couple times a year. I try to give away stuff. I try to have minimal amount of equipment in the kitchen. I try to have, just simple things. Try to wear the same shoes every day. Try to, similar shirts, similar pants, I mean, a couple of people are watching, they know what I wear. I wear like the same 5 things pretty much, and I try to. I try to live as simple as possible. And sometimes I get out of it a little bit. I have some fun, but I think it comes back to simplicity.
You partnered with Jesse on a couple of big things.
Yeah.
He, I imagine, gets a lot of people asking him to partner on stuff. How do you get somebody who is big and famous and maybe a billionaire to partner with you and to decide that you're the guy?
Well, one, we're friends first. We like to sauna. We like to cold plunge.
How'd you meet him first?
I met him when I bear crawled the New York Marathon. He reached out, congratulated me. So that was like our first intro.
You did an interesting thing, and then an interesting human found you.
That's it. And then I went to his event, 29029. We hung out, had a crazy 36 hours. And then we kind of just stayed in touch. And he's like, hey, want to come to my house to sauna cold plunge? Yes. I have one rule. Jesse asks you to do something, you do it. And so I went down. And then he's like, yo, that was fun. You want to go to the Hawks game? Cool. Done. Hey, you want to do this? Yeah. And I just kept saying yes. But each time I wasn't looking for anything. I was never like, Jesse's going to be my business partner. I never even thought about business with him. I was just like, this is a fun guy to hang out with. We have similar values: family, health, community, freedom of time, giving back. Those are my 5 main values I live by. And that's kind of what he lives by too. So we align on values. And we just, I don't know, there's no egos. We just like to have a good time, host people, sauna cold plunge. And I think we enjoy each other's company. And when he came to me about all day running, to be honest, I didn't even look at the paperwork. I know how much equity I own in the business, but like, besides that, I was like, I trust this guy, I saw it, DocuSign came in, I signed up, I'm like, let's launch this thing. It wasn't there's some people in the world that you just trust, It's like it's a good old handshake deal. And that's kind of how him and I roll. And there's no hidden agenda with us.
It's interesting because that was one of Warren Buffett's famous lines was, one, you can't do a good deal with a bad guy, and that a contract won't save you. And so I think there's actually a lot of wisdom in that. Now, I am a crazy person and get very particular with contracts, but I think when you're young and you don't got much to lose, you can really shoot yourself in the foot by putting all of these what ifs in there. There's not even a what to start with.
And like all day running, we all started at zero. We started at 0 sales. We started at 0 followers. We started at no one coming to Running Man. We all started at 0. And then him and I had the agreement of, okay, let's build this to something. Him and I started at 0 with all day. Now, then we're building this together with the team and everyone. So I think everyone has to understand, everyone starts at 0. It's not like, it's just handed to you overnight. Everyone starts at 0 followers. Everyone starts at 0 views on the podcast. Then you're like, dang, I got my first 10 views, 20. I got my first 1 million views. This is crazy, right?
That's
like
right.
we all start at 0. And so the what ifs are so unnecessary just in life. What if it doesn't? We're naturally thinking that, but we're all starting at 0. So just go. Just say yes.
Yeah. But now you have All Day Running Company, which is that what owns like Running Man and the biggest sauna and all those things you have? What does that all encompass?
Yeah. All Day Running, we started with like 20 different concepts. We started with a calendar. We started with, daily workouts. We started with gear. We started with a monthly call. We start with run clubs, and we do that on purpose. Throw it at the wall, see what sticks. That didn't kind of work. That worked. That didn't work. This didn't work. Cool. Yes. No. Running Man was a festival. It came down to schedule. Jesse and I have limited time, so this allows us to do it once a year. It's a blank canvas for us. We can do whatever we want there. It's fun. It's what we like to do. And so, we launched Running Man 3 years ago. We're going on, this is our third one this year.
We'll have explain what it is really quickly.
Running Man is a running festival in the health and wellness community where there's no first place, second place, or third place. You have 3 days. We put the timer on, and you can run as much as you want. Whoa. Some people sign up for 5K and end up doing 50 miles. And you can walk, run, crawl, do whatever you want. In between, you can stop. You have a tracker on. You could stop, go hit a sauna, grab a beer, listen to Mike Posner play, hit a goat yoga session. You can do whatever you want. It's just a fun, it's Burning Man without the drugs. And more running. That's all it is. It's a
cool
good
idea.
It's a 3-day festival in Georgia, and we just host it. We go down and literally just party for 3 days.
Yeah, you guys invited me, and I was like, I hate running. I'm so nervous. This sounds awful. I have a conflict, but I'm going to come next year. I told Jesse.
Last year I did 4 laps, and then I had 30 beers. That was my running. That's what I did.
That's amazing.
That's what I did at Running Man last year.
It's kind of nice because with the new year and everything, you're thinking about goals, and it's like, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And sometimes I can get really prescriptive, but half the time it's just directional.
Right.
Like go someplace where more people are running, where you could be running more often, and you'll probably do some more, and then don't get that serious about the time or the specifics.
Yeah, don't get serious. Life's too short to be too serious.
Is that a motto of yours?
Yeah, look, there's some things where I'm like, what the frick? But a lot of times I'm like, Chinese farmer, right? It's you just got to kind of go with the flow.
What do you mean by that?
So my girlfriend showed me this clip, Chinese farmer. If you're listening, you should go watch it. It's 2 minutes maybe. And it's basically about this Chinese farmer that, he goes through all these obstacles in life, and each obstacle actually ended up being what it was supposed to be. It wasn't right and it wasn't wrong. It's just what it was supposed to be. And that's kind of the gist of it. Life is just what it's supposed to be. If we mess up on the podcast, that's just what it's supposed to be. If I say something out of line, if I say something good, that's just what it's supposed to be. And so it's not overthinking good or bad. It's just going and just kind of going with the flow.
What do you do when you make mistakes? Like, how do you get over a mistake? Is it that?
I just don't make them again. Yeah. I know what I did wrong or I messed up on. I will never make that mistake again. And it's embedded in my brain. I make it a point, to the point where I'll tell people I made that mistake. Because with learning, if you read it, you speak it, you teach it, that's how you embed it. And so I like to tell people my problems, or not problems, my mistakes, I should say,
Interesting.
Because then it's embedded. I will never, bring on these 10 influencers at X amount of dollars and launch them at this and do blah, 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 blah. I'll do it this way next time. And now I know forever I'm not going to, make that mistake again.
Yeah, that's kind of important. I think often when I make a mistake, the way I repeat it is you try to hide it. You're like, whoops, that didn't really okay, we'll just kind of scan over that.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like the universe is kind of like, hey, man, remember this happened? What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Yeah, I embed it. I speak it, and I'm okay with that. Look, we're all human. I've made a lot, obviously a lot of mistakes. I think it's okay. It's good. That's how we learn. I look at mistakes as that's a school. That's the learning experience. I made an investment maybe like 4 years ago, and the investment it was a small amount. I think it was like 10 grand to make 250. It was a great return, right? And on the day where I was supposed to cash out the 250, I didn't know how to cash it out. And so it delayed, and the stock essentially started dropping so that 250 went to 50. And I was just like, holy shit, that was a $200,000 mistake I just made in one day, because I just simply didn't know how to cash it out. And I was really furious for a couple minutes, and then I was like, okay, I'll never make that mistake again. That was a very expensive, learning experience, but it was a learning experience nonetheless. So that's just what it is.
Yeah, you just
and
move
I
on.
will, Cody, I'll never make that freaking mistake again. I promise you.
What's the mistake? Investing in the stock market with quick returns,
Yeah,
or not knowing how to cash out? What's the
not knowing
mistake?
how to cash out. Yeah, I didn't have the right system set up and people set up to cash it out. So
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, that's happened to me a lot. A
Okay.
lot of times when you invest in private companies before they go public, you have 90-day lockup periods, right?
Yeah.
And so, you might think you're doing really well on the private side, but then when they went public back in our cannabis days, we had a lot of companies where, man, they did great for those first 30 or 60 days. But I
Right.
was just sitting there like, God, I don't think they're going to make it to 90, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So I never really like investing in the stock market for that reason. Too
Yeah.
many other people can influence your outcome.
yeah, I have a little bit, but I don't really do stock market. I like
Yeah.
private stuff I can really control.
Yeah, one of the things that's wild that you have that I was looking up is you own a farm now.
Yes.
Tell me about the farm. What made you buy
one?
a farm? Oh, you have two now?
Yeah.
Well-
I have one in Austin,
Oh,
Cedar Trunk Ranch.
Okay, I don't know anything about that one. I know
Yeah.
about the honey farm.
Yeah, Sweet Honey Farm.
Uh-huh.
Sweet Honey Farm. Bought it as my home. It's a farm. It's it's a working farm, and I had an open door policy to my friends. Come by. I harvest my cows. I harvest the food in the garden. Here, come get it.
And like by harvest, you're there? Like you're
I have a team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up
So you
in
hired some
Idaho and New
people.
Hampshire on a farm, and so I know what needs to be done. But yeah, I have a team that runs it.
Is that really expensive?
It gets expensive. Yeah, very expensive if you don't have a revenue stream in.
Yeah.
And so I kind of noticed that. I was like, this is a black hole if I don't, sell the meat, or I don't sell the garden goods, or I don't put some type of cash flow onto the property. And so with farms, you can do CSA, community supported agriculture. And so I opened up a CSA farm. And so people pay an annual fee and they get access to my farms. And second one's going in Nashville, third one's going in Colorado.
Wow. So it's basically like a subscription to your farm.
Correct.
And I get an allocation of a certain amount of vegetables or
Yeah,
meat
or
something.
whatever you want. Yeah, I have the unlimited policy, but everyone's very respectful of they take what they need.
Interesting.
You don't have people coming in and grabbing 100 tomatoes, and it's not world
Because
end.
you screen them.
Well, yeah, and it's just like people are respectful. Yeah, I screen everybody. I do a sauna session with them.
Oh, interesting.
But most of them, I have a big network. They're a lot of my friends, and just people that come live local around New York City.
Interesting.
And so it's only 45 minutes from New York City, and we play pickleball, basketball, sauna, cold plunge, work out. There's a coffee shop on the property. Pro Mix. I have my Pro Mix juice bar, and my chef cooks stuff from the farm. But it's all my friends, and it's all free. You
That's
pay one. You
amazing.
pay one fee. There's no upsell. I think
You
there's
can
too
come
many.
whenever you want.
Yeah, come 9 to 5. We're open every day.
Interesting.
There's too many nightclubs. There's too many these clubs where they're pushing alcohol on you. They're pushing all these upsells of get a massage for $500, and use our hyperbaric chamber for another $500, and grab a dinner with your friends for $2,000, and you leave. You're like, oh my god, I spent $4,000 at this freaking place. I don't want that. It's $7,500 for the year, and you get everything. And it's I'm just putting I'm not serving alcohol. There's no drugs. It's just very come and feel good. And so it's attracted a lot of founders, a lot of people that I would say there's maybe 20 members there that have all sold their company for over 200 million. They cashed out and they just come for the day and hang out.
I love that because they get to be the gentleman farmers, which is
They
like
do.
a new thing
Yeah.
without all the
Ride
heartache
horses, yeah.
Yeah, you have giant horses there that I've seen.
Yeah, big boys.
Do you also have mini ponies?
I have one mini pony,
I'm
Buttons.
into that. I'm coming.
He's tiny.
Buttons.
The kids
is
can
his
ride
name?
him.
Oh, that's
The
amazing.
big Clydesdales.
Yeah.
They weigh 2,500 pounds. They're huge.
That's
and then
wild.
I have a couple Arabian horses, a couple Mustangs, the tiny horse, cows, Scottish Highland cows.
Oh yeah, the cute ones,
Yeah.
fuzzies.
300 chickens.
300
Yeah.
chickens?
100 chickens are meat chickens, so I'll harvest those in
Got it.
6 weeks, and we just got them. And then
How do you decide if it's a meat or a ongoing
just two different
chicken?
types of chicken.
Okay, it's not personality
Yeah.
based. No,
Maybe.
there's no scorecard.
Depending-
Like you
yeah.
get to stay.
Yeah, if
you
they're
get to go.
pain in the ass, they turn to meat.
Okay.
Meat
Tracks.
soup. No.
No PETA
and then the other
listeners.
chickens, they produce eggs. And then everything from the garden goes to the eggs, or goes to the chickens. They produce eggs, and we eat them. And
Wow, this
Yeah.
is a big enterprise.
it's a super fun project. I love it. It's kind of, some people sell their company and invest in restaurants. I this is kind of my restaurant. This is not a restaurant, but it's kind of my hobby, and it just attracts really good people.
And you're going to open up around the country.
Yes.
Wild.
There's 10,000 people on the wait list.
That's crazy from your videos.
Yeah.
You have a big Instagram where in as far as I can tell, you document this stuff. It's not that much content creation. It's like, today I'm doing a 47-hour-long sauna with all my buddies, and then you document it.
That's it.
And then through that is how you get the 10,000 people on your wait list.
Yeah, I'm just raw, authentic, not, I don't want to use the word authentic because I think it's overused, but it's raw. I mean, I try to put out as much raw stuff as possible. I don't enjoy seeing things online and then meeting that person in real life, and they're too.
Dude, it's not.
I'm like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's not my vibe.
Yeah, it always makes me sad. I'm like, I wish I didn't meet you because you seem super cool online. And I wish we could just stay there.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I just want to. My definition of success is being yourself 100% of the time. And so if I can be myself to you or to the president or to someone I just randomly met in the airport or whatever, I think that's success.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you don't have to put on show.
Yeah.
I think a lot of time we don't have to put on show, right? We just do for whatever reason. Insecurity, we're young, we're idiots.
Yep.
I've done that many, many times.
Of course.
And then you realize, like, actually, everybody can tell.
Yeah.
Eek, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
And you'd probably be cooler if you just acted like who you were.
Way cooler.
Yeah. Plus, the internet's full of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a bunch of people that want to follow you talking about horses and honey and working out. And there are people that are really into like anime and popcorn.
It's insane. There's 8 billion people and everyone has different interests.
Yeah.
You know, and you're never going to please everybody. Obviously.
That's very true.
You know? So it's like just do what you want and what you like, and then what you put out in the world, that's what you attract back in. It's a law of energy. It's very simple.
Do you think that a lot of this sort of free thought and being who you are and living this big, huge life goes back to sort of your dad? And you've talked about some of this publicly before, but you know, how he passed and your relationship with him.
Yeah. I think he was he did what he wanted. He was very stubborn. Yeah, he was a stubborn, like curious, you know, he climbed Mount Rainier. He climbed some mountains. He was back when he was a kid, he was Boy of the Year for the Men and Boys Club of America. He got invited to the White House. Like he did some cool things as a human, but he was definitely very stubborn in the sense of he just wanted to do what he wanted when he wanted, you know? And so I think that probably translated over. My mom's like that as well. All my sisters are very free spirit. They all, you know, one lives in Hawaii, one lives in, you know, Oregon and New Hampshire. Like they're all over. Everyone's very independent and doesn't necessarily let society impact the decisions or a degree or, you know, what society calls success. It's kind of like, what do I was taught to like define success as my own. And so, I don't know, I think all my sisters and kind of how I grew up was always like that. And so, I don't know, that's just how I live.
Yeah. Do you think that kids these days need to go to school, that university helps? I
think it depends on, you know, how you learn. I think some kids are amazing in school, and that's they need to sit down and they need to be taught, you know, X, Y, Z on a board. And some are like, I need to be outside and be touch with my hands. You know, some are visual learners, some need to read it, some need to listen. I think once you understand how you learn, then freaking deep dive into that. I know me learning is sitting here with you or traveling to different mountains or climbing to top of the world or, you know, putting my body through mayhem, you know, in the bear crawl or riding across America or going to Antarctica or hosting an event with Diplo in Antarctica. Like, I don't know, just like doing different things.
Did you do that?
I did do that last year. That's my school though. You know what I mean? That's my school, not... So back to I think some school is great, but what's your school? So school is good, but define what your school is. Maybe it's Harvard.
How does one find that?
I don't know. I think you just do. You just go. You just try different things. Yeah.
So say you try a lot of stuff. I think a lot of people don't know if they like it or not. Like, what's your process for like, I'm not going to do this again. Or I liked that. That was great. Do you sit and think about it? Is it just a feeling? Do you go with your gut reaction? How does a young person actually decide what is their school? I
don't know. If you get those butterflies inside when you're doing something, you're like, That was fun. You know, like think of a time back when you were a kid or a teenager or in college or any time in your life and you got those butterflies inside. Was it helping someone? Well, then maybe you should try some philanthropy things. Was it building something? Maybe you should look into architecture, building houses, you know, building a company. You know, was it reading? Maybe you're meant to be a freaking lawyer. Maybe you love reading. Maybe you're meant, you know what I mean? Like everyone's different, but you got to try. I've tried so many things. And so I know exactly how I learn and I just deep dive into that every day. You know?
What did you do with Diplo in Antarctica? Which is a weird question to ask.
Yeah. We hosted 150 people on a ship on the coast of Antarctica for 7 days. We jumped in the water. We, you know, had, you know, saunas and we did yoga and he performed and it was just a fun 7-day trip in Antarctica with 150 random people.
Why? So you just do kind of like these, it's almost like mini businesses.
Yeah.
Like there's just like this is a cool idea. Let's try it once and see if it works.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Have you always done that?
Yeah. I mean, I was in survival mode since I was 16, since my dad passed away. I got to pay my bills. I don't have anyone paying my cell phone bill. So I got to pay the $60 a month. How do I do that? Okay, well, what if, you know, I was in military academy at the time and no one would, you know, pay for my cell phone and, you know, every other parents were paying. I didn't have that luxury. So I was like, how do I pay for this $60 a month? I'm not making any money, but I have $10. And so I remember I snuck out of, I don't think I've ever even told this story before, but I was in study hall in our rooms in the barracks at Valley Forge Military Academy, and I had like $10 on me, and I needed to pay my $60 bill, and so I snuck out the window, and I go to McDonald's, and meanwhile, Valley Forge is $60,000 a year. I was on a scholarship, and so there's a bunch of rich kids there, and I went to McDonald's, and I bought 10 McDoubles, and I came back, and I sold them all for $10 a piece, and the kids bought them, and so I was like $100, 60, I just made 40, so now I have 40, and I would do that at study hall. You know, and so I think I was always in survival mode since then, and now I just get, get scrappy and get creative with it. But what I have noticed with people that do get scrappy is that you can go two directions. One direction, you can always be scrappy and sell stuff, but it's snake oil.
Yeah.
And it's quick in and out. The other is you protect your reputation no matter what. And I kind of went that route. I don't just sell stuff. I don't just create stuff just to make money. You know, I want to actually help people and create products. Hence why we started ProMix, right? I was like, man, I grew up in a health and wellness, you know, household. I met Albert, my partner, and, you know, there was nothing affordable with like really, really clean ingredients, you know, like raw, where we traced it back to the farms that we got them from, and we packaged them up ourselves in glass containers, so there's no microplastics or anything. Like, how do we do this? And so we were fixing something for us, and then we were like, I think other people are going to like this as well. You know, some good grass-fed whey protein, some debloat for your gut, some things that we want to use, you know, in our daily habits. And that's kind of how it came about. But it's an honest business. You know, it's not like, oh, freaking tallow is hot right now, let's do tallow, or cryo chambers are hot right now, let's do a cryo business. It's not. I don't like going down that route. I want, you know, a good analogy is nightclubs versus restaurants. Nightclubs are in and out. They're quick, 2-3 years. They're hot in the city. People go to them, and then, you know, 3 years later they rebrand, new nightclub. I like the restaurant that's open for 25, 30, 50 years. I want that family-owned restaurant. And so I try to go down that route with businesses and have some longevity to it versus sustainability versus these quick wins. Yeah. The quick wins are normally I don't make money on them. They're good marketing plays. They're fun. They're just fun. You know what I mean? Like,
and they attract a bunch of interesting people.
Did we make money on the Diplo Antarctica trip? No, zero. You know what I mean? First couple of years of Running Man, we made no money. Like, these are just fun things we want to do. And I don't know, we just try to bring people together.
Tell me about the trip to Africa where you found this weird nut that you're turning into
seed. Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know what the difference is between a nut and a seed.
That's all right.
Do you?
A seed grows and a nut
is
you
the
eat.
End growth? Is that the end product?
Fact check.
Fuck. Whatever. YouTube will tell us.
I actually kind of want to know that. Nut versus seed. A nut you can
eat, but you could eat a seed too.
Can you?
I mean,
Oh, yeah, you can
sunflower
eat both.
seed.
What's the difference between a nut and a seed?
What do you think, Christian?
Google is saying a nut is technically a type of seed.
Wow.
The outer shell is considered part of the fruit, while a seed is the reproductive part of a plant that contains the potential for a new plant to grow.
Doesn't it sound better when he says it too? He's
Yeah.
like a plant.
Yeah, can we put that on here?
Yeah,
I want
of
to put that on there.
course. Yeah,
Wow.
100%.
Well,
we will edit in Christian's beautiful British voice
Good.
telling us what
Good.
a nutter seed is. So you're in Africa. Where are you?
I'm in Africa, in Tanzania. I was
Okay.
climbing Kilimanjaro, which
That's
I
cool.
recommend. It's a very easy climb,
Yep.
hike per se. There's 14ers in Colorado are much harder, right? It's just fun. So I'm out there. It maybe takes us 6 days. I'm with some buddies. Get invited to the village that we just went up with our guides with.
Is this like a Masai Mara?
It's a Maasai community. It's a couple hours outside Tanzania, and so I'm just eating some goat and some other stuff that they give us, and these kids were coming up to me with this seed, and the seed is huge. I didn't know what it was at the time, but it's called the baobab seed, and the baobab seed has an insane amount of vitamin C and an insane amount of potassium. And so I was like, there's got to be something I can do with this. This is a really cool concept.
So it's like the size of a football?
It's huge, yeah. And so we had Promix at the time. And when I hear, 4 times the amount of potassium, 4 times the amount of vitamin C, I'm like, I want to take this every day. And so I bring it back to my partner and I'm like, what can we do with this? And I've always been big in gut health because gut is, your second brain. It's where your mood, your energy, 70% of major diseases are formed from your gut. And so if you can get your gut on point, you're good, you're that much more de-risked from death or diseases. And the 2 things in your gut that you really need to be focused on is pre and probiotics, pre and probiotics. So they are 2 bacterias that work with each other to essentially fix your gut liner, to help break down food, right? So it can then the nutrients can go in your bloodstream. And most people don't take prebiotics, they'll take probiotics and they think they're taking them with yogurt. But once you have artificial flavors in yogurt, right? Or it takes out the probiotics. So a lot of people aren't even taking probiotics when they think they are. So these are pre and probiotics. There's natural prebiotics in the baobab as well. Put turmeric in it for inflammation. And then organic oranges for flavor from Florida. And it's called D-Bloat, and it helps flush your pipes in the morning, and it helps clear your gut, and it helps fix the gut liner. And it's quickly became our top product. And I mean, you got to see the testimonials here. I mean, people had acne for years, and they started, taking it for a month, and boom, their face is clear. They were constipated on the regular, not anymore, right? People's mood changes when your gut is better, when your gut is healthier, when you don't have a leaky gut, when you have good nutrients, right? I mean, I don't want to sound cliche, but it's really about what you're putting in your body. And if you can put some good fuel in your body, everything else starts to make sense. You wake up with less anxiety. You wake up happier. You wake up like, wow, I'm not I don't feel like 1,000 pounds right now. I feel a little bit lighter. I feel happy, and it all comes down to your gut.
Do you drink alcohol?
I drink alcohol.
You do?
Yeah, I've recently pulled back on it just based on some studies, and I'm a weed guy.
Yeah.
I like weed.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a weed guy.
Okay, I could tell the hat.
Is it the hat?
I don't know if it's the hat or the overalls.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be shocked if you told me that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I like
I
weed.
used to do some of it, but it got too intense. Like the amount of THC that they're putting in stuff today, I think is fucking criminal.
Oh, it's
honestly.
crazy?
Yeah, it's got to be real careful. But you probably do like more organic, as opposed to synthetic. But a lot of the stuff that they're creating just has never existed in nature before. And
Wow.
so anyway, I'm biased because I was in cannabis for quite a while, and I saw a lot of people starting to get cannabinoid hypermeiosis syndrome.
Which is?
Well, they haven't been able to do enough research on it, so there needs to be more research. But essentially, two of my family members got it. It's where you get violently ill by using cannabis. And this is for people who are using it quite a lot. But it's almost the opposite of what you think with cannabis. Like they give cannabis to people who have or going through chemo, right? And so this essentially, it turns off some of your cannabinoid receptors is what they think happens. And so it's wild. Like, I mean, I saw it firsthand. A member of my family, for 2 weeks couldn't leave the house. They have like this insane amount of hot showering they do. So like, I remember for 2 weeks, one of them was at my house and he wouldn't be able to get out of the shower. He'd get violently ill. So it would just be like really hot water kind of consistently for 2 weeks straight, basically. Lost like 25 pounds.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think
That's not fun.
No, but like everything in life, there's pros and cons. So definitely if you drink too much, you'd have other things. So
But then again, if you drink too much, you might have the best ever time with your boys. You know what I mean? You might have the best story ever.
That's my problem. I love Huberman, but sometimes I'm like, man, where's the joy?
Yeah,
Taking it all.
Sometimes you got to have 30 beers with the boys and just have at it.
Could you have 30 beers at once? I'd be dead.
Yeah, I mean throughout the day. Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah.
That's funny. The way you shrug it off.
Yeah, 30. Yeah.
Then you sauna and ice plunge immediately following.
Sauna, cold the next day, and you're boom, right back at it.
And you're ready to go.
It's like the Wolf of Wall Street clip when he just gets. Have you seen that clip? You got to put the clip in.
Okay, what's
right?
the
You know
clip?
what I'm talking about.
Christian.
The clip.
Is this like a man clip?
When he
like
just gets after it and then steam, sauna, gets in the helicopter, back at it.
This is not me. It would take me out for 2 days.
Yeah.
Kind of on that same vein, I've been obsessed lately about and reading a ton of research about young men in our country. And basically, loneliness epidemic, getting married later, not having as much sex, higher suicide rates. And then I see somebody like you that I think could be an antidote to some of that. Like, what do you say or tell to young men who are struggling in today's society?
Get a community around you. Find a community and join it. And also just do the basics, right? Are you drinking enough water? Overdose with water. Are you just getting sun in the morning, right? Are you just going outside, taking your shoes off and just looking at the sun? The community is big because, we as humans make 250,000 decisions per week. And with those decisions, normally they're just up in our brain and we're not talking to anyone about it. When I have a big decision to make, I have a group chat of 12 of my buddies. I call each one of my buddies and I say the exact same issue to each one. Yo, I'm going on Codie's podcast. I don't know her, yada, yada. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, blah, blah, blah. He gives me an answer. I say the same thing. Yo, I'm going on Codie's podcast, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what to... He gives me an answer. And I go down the list. And out of those 12 guys, I come up with my answer. And now I'm here in the podcast and I feel good. You know what I mean? Yeah. Obviously an example, but we go through so many decisions that we don't have people to lean on. And so, yes, the suicide rate is going to skyrocket. You know what I mean? Yes, you're going to be depressed because you're making up these stories in your head. It's called the vicious cycle, right? Of just... Well, she didn't answer my text. Well, she didn't answer my text because I was wearing those weird shoes that day. And I was wearing those, well, I didn't mean to wear those weird shoes. Someone gave me those weird shoes. And now, meanwhile, she was at church, And so if we can just calm that voice and we can have a community to lean on, and there's tons of communities out there. I mean, you see all the new run clubs, all the new member clubs opening up, all the, all these new podcasts, all these new just churches, there's so many different gyms. There's so many communities, tech, get-togethers, book clubs. There's communities out there. Try them all. Go try jujitsu. Join a book club. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Go to Sweet Honey Farm.
It's a really good point.
Join a community.
I went to a church the other day in a movie theater, a converted movie theater here. It's
Wow.
called Red Rocks. And if it wasn't the best looking group of young men and women I've seen, I was like, Jesus, this is not what my church was like back in the day. Catholic church, we were a little sad looking. But this group, I was like, whoa, if I was young and single in Austin, bam, I would definitely be there.
Right.
Like ethical, moral compass, young people, care about mission. I mean, all stereotypes, arguably.
Yep.
But I think you're right. I mean, we have two members of the team, Christian would know who, that, do you know what they do, Devin? Tell me if you've ever heard of this before.
Okay.
They go to a bar and they play Dungeons and Dragons.
What?
I know.
Unbelievable.
Super nerds.
Wow.
Love these guys. They're my sweet little nerds. But they go to this. There's a bar every Thursday night where people get together and they play Dungeons and Dragons in person.
That's a community.
It's a community. And I didn't even know. I kind of thought Dungeons and Dragons was like a board game.
Yeah.
But I guess you act it out.
I've never played Dungeons and Dragons in my life. I don't even know what that is. I thought it was a video
open
game.
invitation.
Yeah.
I asked them, I'm like, because they're two kind of good looking women who work for me. I'm like, what does the group look like when you walk into Dungeons and Dragons? They're like, about exactly what you think they look like.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I was
really?
like, yeah, they're like, but it's awesome. And then one
fun.
of them's funny, Lindsay. She goes, I'm a 12 at Dungeons and
Wow.
Dragons.
She's ripping it up.
Yeah, she's killing the game.
I also think with that, like to find the community, you have to have the values. Like you have to know what your no matter what's are in life. Too many of us are going through and living off values of, that business you're working for, or your boss's values, or your parents' values, or your grandparents' values versus like, what do you care about?
Yeah.
You're not the same person as your grandfather or grandmother or your best friend. You're a different person. And so it's like, what are the 5 things that your absolute no matter what's are? And once you know that, you can align with people with the same values versus the same industry. You're not going to get along with everyone at that real estate happy hour, right? It's just not going to happen. But you will get along with everyone if they have the exact same values as you. If mine are family, health, freedom of time, community, and giving back, and you have similar values, we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna get along. I'm gonna be able to call you and say, "Yo, man, that workout was freaking tough. That sauna, man, I need a hotter sauna." And you're going to be like, yeah, I need a hotter, like, we're going to connect on the things that we like and the values that we believe in and the health and, take the gut health medicine, take the debloat, right? Like, we're going to connect on that. You're not going to connect with those people at the real estate happy hour.
Yeah. So is that one thing you would tell somebody today? Like, hey, tell me what you stand for. Like, what are your 5?
Yeah.
Do most people that have a 5 or a values system?
And people, yeah. I mean, my
Your
friends,
close
my
friends.
group, yeah. But no, not a lot of people do. If I'm to ask everyone listening to this podcast, do you have 5 things you absolutely, no matter what, live by? And if something comes on your schedule right now and it goes against your value, are you doing it? I would say 90% of people are saying, shit, yeah, he's right. Like, I do things I don't want to do. My schedule, I'm not doing it. Cody, if there's something on my schedule that doesn't align with one of those 5s, a person, a place, a thing, a business opportunity, an investment, I'm just not doing it. I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. That's how stubborn I am. And I'll just tell people no. Not enough people say no. The power of no. What did Nina say the other day? She said, your yes means a lot more if you say no.
She's smart.
More powerful.
I knew I liked her.
Wait,
so how did you get really set on these? Like those are 5. You've listed them off twice. They're obviously real. You're not prepping for a podcast. Those are part of the real deal. Yep. When did you sit down and say, these are my 5, and how did you immortalize those?
When I started feeling overwhelmed and not losing direction of life. And I called my therapist guy at the time, and he gave me that advice, Johnny Martin. He goes, he's like, you need to write this sentence on your whiteboard. And the sentence read, if a person, place, or thing does not add value to my life from a family, and I list out my values, family, community, health, freedom of time, or giving back perspective, then it's taking value from me. So if a person, place, or thing does not add value to my life from those 5 things, then it's taking value from me. And I wrote on my board, and underneath my board I had ProMix and All Day Running and Olipop and all these different companies I started or I invest in or whatever. All these things I was doing with my life and my schedule, and I simply took a red marker and I started crossing shit off that did not align. And all of a sudden my board got smaller and smaller, and I felt the whole, that feels better. Let's go.
So then what do? You call up the companies and you're like, I'm out?
Yeah. You kind of just, you cut.
Yeah.
I
do that once a year too.
I think you have to do it. I think you don't owe anybody anything. You got to be selfish sometimes and worry about your own health and your mental space and how you're spending your time. If you don't own your time, then someone else is going to puppet you around. You got to own your time, but how do you own your time if you don't even know what you want to do with your time? That's where the values come in. It's like the same thing with money. I want $100 million. What the frick are you going to do with $100 million? Do you even know how to spend $1 million? Do you even what do you mean you want $100 million? Well, I can just chill on a beach. You're going to be bored on a beach after day 5.
Yep.
You want to chill on a beach? No, I'm not. Yes, you are. I promise. You're going to be bored. Figure out what you really love. I love Sweet Honey Farm. I love Pro Mix. It's fun. It's it aligns with my values. My values are embedded in these companies all day running. Jesse, it's embedded it. It doesn't feel like work. People in the Western culture separate life and work. It's all life. It's all 24 hours. It's all life at the end of the day. And so why are we separating things and categorizing? It's life. Our time that we've spent here so far, we're never getting it back, ever, ever. It's no one's creating a time machine. So it's you gotta own that time and know how you're spending your time. And I think the values are something you can lean back on to de-risk the decisions, the 250,000 decisions you make every week.
That's really good. Yeah, one of the things that I learned early on, if you're going to invest or do multiple businesses, is that every year you got to prune just like a rose bush. And I remember one of my mentors saying that to me. He's like, I wish that you were smart enough to make the right decision every single time, but you won't be.
Yeah.
And he's like, so if you know you're not going to be, what do you know you got to do? Get a pair of scissors. And so every single year there's going to be some cutting. But I think I fall into the camp of often waiting too long. I'll let him hang on. I'll really try to fix it. I'll try to be the good partner. I'll try to meet them. And I think that is where misery really starts.
Yep.
So,
I agree.
So is this a process that you do continuously on a weekly basis, a daily basis, a yearly basis?
Yeah, all the time. I'm constantly looking at, I don't do anything if it's not in my schedule on Outlook. I look at my schedule. I mean, feeding the dogs, going to the farm, sauna, cold plunging, it's all on there. And I look at it every morning, night before, call my assistant, take that off, keep it on, whatever, and just audit accordingly every single day. A lot of the times I cancel calls, I push the calls. I don't want to take the calls. And they're probably great humans and they're doing great stuff for the world, but I'm just not spending my time doing that. Yeah. And you if you're not that way, you'll get taken advantage of. You'll waste your time. You'll have regret 10 years down the road. Shit, I was doing what everyone else wanted me to do, but not what I wanted to do. You got to audit your time.
So true. Yeah. I have a guy I really admire, Tim Ferriss, who's become a friend, and he's coming out with his new book, The No Book.
Cool.
And, he was kind of laughing about you would think that it's not that long of a book, but he's like, actually, all these things creep in on you every single way possible. And so life is this series of they want you to say yes to things, and you've got to figure out how do I say no more often.
Well, yeah, and then everyone's going to say, well, how am I supposed to pay my bills? Well, how about the guy I just spoke about that's in his tent in Arizona that doesn't have the bills? Backtrack of what you really need, not want, need. We just sold Pro Mix, and I asked all my sisters, what do you need? And they all said, nothing, or we're good. And I know they need something, but they all said, no, I'm good. I'm like, do you want anything? No, I'm good. I don't need anything. I'm like, those are some good sisters. They're not leeching. They're like, how can I help you, Dev? And I'm like, cool. Too many people go through, they think they need something, but really it's just a want. So if you're trying to own your time and you're trying to do what you want, but you feel like, oh man, I'm held back because of bills, or I'm held back because, well, my parents want me to do X, Y, Z because I got this degree and I have to go do. Nah, fuck that. Delete it. Start from zero. Move to Jamaica. Go sell some coconuts. Get a place that's $100 a month.
We
know
had
what
Paul
I'm saying?
Saladino on here. He moved to Costa Rica. He brings coconuts with him to the airport everywhere. One of the cool parts about a podcast like this and why I like bothering people like you is because there are so many ways to live. And when you get to see these other humans, whether it's traveling or just listening to a podcast, you're like, that motherfucker doesn't seem much smarter than I am. Those two aren't that much, and they can live these lives. What's the deal?
Yeah, I'm not that smart. I'm a D student. I'm like, look, I'm just figuring out like everyone every day, and everyone's like that. I've met the richest people in the world. I'm talking Elon Musk, and I've met some of the poorest people in the world, and every single person in between is everyone's trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's
Everyone's trying to figure it out every day. All of us. Maybe I was running late today to the podcast. I'm just trying to get through the traffic like everyone else. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. So if we were to end it
Yeah.
with one thing, which is, well, actually, you know what I want to end it with?
Yeah,
that I was
go.
going to ask you.
Yeah.
Can we do a fun segment?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay. I want to do rapid fire questions on
love
your gym and your farm. Okay.
Jim.
Rapid fire. Favorite animal on your farm?
Sir Peppercorn, my horse.
Which one? Big one?
He's like a spotted thoroughbred. I love him. He's great.
Okay. We'll find him on your Instagram.
Yeah,
I
Sir
think
Peppercorn.
Okay. I like it. Most expensive animal at your farm?
Sir Peppercorn.
How much did he cost to buy?
He's a $75,000 horse.
Wild.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite piece of gym equipment?
Ooh. Favorite gym equipment? The sauna.
Most expensive?
The sauna? No. Yeah, saunas are expensive.
Is this a special sauna?
Yeah, I have an
Oh, it's
infrared and
big.
a traditional. Yeah.
Isn't it? I think I've seen
Yeah.
it on. It's like you can fit a small little army in there.
Yeah, I have a 50-person sauna and then a 10-person sauna, so they're both pretty big.
What does a 50-person sauna cost?
100,000.
That's wild. Favorite event you've ever been to or hosted?
Running Man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
need to go
Running
to this
Man's
one.
so fun.
How much does Everest cost to hike?
$250,000.
And 2 months. That's wild.
Yep. And no sponsors. That was all out of pocket. I didn't want any thing deviating me and my brain from drink this, try this,
Oh,
do
good
this.
point.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
all
you didn't
me.
want to have to like make content on the
No.
mountain.
I did test my company ProMix. We
Yeah.
created a blood flow product,
Uh-huh.
and it's beets and berries, and it helps get circulation going, so you're a little bit warmer, and blood flow is essential for your body. That's
Yeah.
why your heart's pumping, and so I tested that on there. But besides that, yeah.
That's crazy. You were testing new products on the mountain? Yeah, you
Yeah.
must believe in your shit.
Oh
huh?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
You just sold ProMix? Is that what you said?
We did, yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yes,
Is this a big exit for you?
yes, it was.
Oh, that's amazing. All right,
Yes.
wait a second.
Yep.
That means we should cheers.
Cheers.
Man, that's a big deal.
Yes.
I know you've sold a few companies, but
No, this was the biggest so far.
that's amazing. It's hard to build something in general, and then real hard to build something good enough, strong enough that another person wants to take it over.
Yes, it is. It's
yeah.
hard.
And you sell a lot of this per month. Can you say how many units you do, or is that
Oh
private?
man, it's private, but we do a lot, like
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands.
That's
People drink this every single month. Debloat, yeah, it's good.
That's amazing. Okay, let's end with this question. So, new year, new you. People are like that everywhere. You have what appears to me to be like a wild amount of motivation and sort of grit to grin and bear really terrible things. How would you inspire somebody else to do the same thing? How would you inspire somebody to keep going when they don't want to, when it feels terrible, when it seems like they can't?
Yeah, we're all faced with life, and life only gets you to a certain level of grit. It's those times where your body feels like it's going to break down, or your brain's about to give up, or it's cold, or your feet are frozen for 12 hours, or you're, at mile 24 of the 26.2 marathon. It's those last couple miles that you start to learn things about yourself massively. And I can't teach that. No one can teach that. You just have to do it. And a lot of the times it's in some type of physical adventure where you learn the most about yourself. And when you can take that information and implement it into your business and life, it's where you start to separate from the rest. And so that's my motivation. It's my learning. It's where you learn about everything. It's about really yourself. And so many of those times where my feet were frozen on Everest, or my body was giving up on the bear crawl, or, I'm doing rim to rim to rim in the Grand Canyon, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't feel my legs anymore. It's those last couple hours, the last day, that you start to learn who the frick you are, and that grit level, you got to just keep increasing it, to an extent, right? I'm not saying, risk your life, but I am saying, like, it's important to add in those grit challenges, see what this body's capable of, because it's pretty remarkable what the human body can do.
Yeah, you're right. I actually have a bracelet I wear that says that I give out to people says, remember who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good reminder because a lot of times we forget we're way more capable than we think. And it's really easy on the internet to tell people that all the excuses and the reasons why they can't. And part of the reason that I do any of this stuff we do is I think that's fucking terrible. I think like the biggest crime you could commit against another human is trying to get them to not believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier. You sound way more sophisticated when you talk about all the reasons why things won't work. You sound Pollyanna as fuck when you say that you might be capable of a lot.
Right.
So I like your mission a lot because you kind of show it live.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So Devin Levesque.
Yes.
On all the socials, mostly on Instagram. That's where I watch you the most.
Instagram, yeah, YouTube, TikTok, but only for a couple more days.
No, fuck the Chinese.
Yeah.
We'll keep it American.
Yeah, it's
Even
all-
if Zuck
all
does censor
Instagram.
us, we're going to go with Instagram.
That's okay. Yeah, hit me on Instagram.
Yeah, okay, amazing. And then ProMix as well.
ProMix.
And we'll check out this drink, which I'm digging. So thank you for bringing me some
D-bloat.
D-bloat. I'm into that.
Yes.
African baobab.
Baobab.
Baobab nut seeds were unclear. Could be either.
Seed, definitely a seed.
Definitely.
It has the seeds inside, technically.
Here, in the next 3 months, how much do you want to make?
Today is probably the most tactical blueprint on making your first dollars and completely changing the way you interact with money. And it's with my friend Lewis Howes. He is a multiple-time New York Times bestselling author. He runs one of the biggest podcasts in the world called School of Greatness.
We all have a money story. Money doesn't heal who you are, it reveals who you are. And until you learn to heal, then it's just going to reveal.
It is therapy, but it's a different type.
It is. Most people have an emotional reaction with money.
47% of Americans die broke? And why?
You got to heal your money wounds. People may not want to hear this.
Hi, I'm Codie Sanchez, and this is the Big Deal podcast. I have struggled with this question for the better part of a decade. What do I tell people who don't have money, who have a bad relationship with money, who don't know how to go further with money? But I think today, for the first time ever, I just heard how to make money even when you have $0 and how to start exactly where you are with what you've got. I was shocked when I started learning about this book because I think most humans will not be able to make money, not because they don't have the tactics, but because you don't actually know how you feel about money, and thus money doesn't know how it feels about you. So if today you feel like you need more money in your life, you should absolutely listen to this episode. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, be prepared to pause it and take some notes because this is going to be an episode you are going to want to listen to multiple times. I remember when I first met you, you immediately, I barely knew you, and you were like, hey, what do you need? How's that going?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, do that. Don't talk to that person, actually do this instead. So, like, do you think that half of your success is actually due from just you being this connector and giver? Is that the secret sauce?
Trying to help other people achieve their goals and dreams. That's what I've kind of done since the beginning. And that's one of my gifts or talents. And so I try to lean into that and be a generous giver of my talent. Some people might have a lot of money. That's their talent. Okay, how can I give more of that thing? And that's just my gift. And I think there's 4 different ways of living life with or without money. And the first way, and I've lived all 4 of these. And the first way is what none of us want to live, which is being broke financially and broke emotionally. When I was 24, 25 on my sister's couch, I had no money, 3 credit cards I was living off of, student loan debt, and I wasn't generating any money. So I was financially broken and kind of like spiritually, emotionally broken as well, because my dream had been crushed from getting injured as an athlete. My identity was gone. I was living on my sister's couch. I was like, I'm a grown man acting like a child, getting, taken care of by my sister.
You're too big for a couch, too.
Exactly. It was just like I was broken financially and emotionally, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do next. So I had no clear game plan. So it was just kind of wallowing in depression, victimhood, why me? No one wants to live that way. That's the first level. The second level is being financially broke still, but starting to feel more emotionally, spiritually abundant, free, excited. And I started to shift after about a year into thinking, okay, I need to get out of this rut. Let me find some coaches, some mentors. Let me start learning. Let me start overcoming fears. Let me start developing skills. And when I started getting momentum around that, it's like something unlocked inside of me where I had this passion, this drive, this excitement, this like, I can take on anything, this kind of fearlessness. And so I was starting to feel more rich inside, even though it wasn't paying off externally in the bank account yet. But eventually that momentum started to build into creating financial freedom. After a few years more after this, I remember I made my first $1 million. And it was like, wow, all this excitement, this hustle, this grind, like I was willing to work all day and night and do whatever it took and help as many people as possible. Say yes to every opportunity. I started generating money. And I was like, okay, now I'm making it. But a few years later, I was obsessive about making more and more. I was like, how do I grow? Every year's got to be bigger. Let's 10x every year. And there was a point after a few years where I lost the internal richness and I started to get more afraid, fearful. I started to feel like everyone was now trying to take advantage of me as opposed to we are working together. People were coming out of the woodwork from middle school who saw I had money and now asking me for money. So it didn't feel good after a while. And it didn't make me feel, it didn't solve all my emotional problems having money. So it was almost like a more challenging thing for me because I had this money. I thought it would make me happier, and it actually wasn't solving my emotional problems. So I felt more emotionally bankrupt, even though I had money financially. And that's a big challenge because you think, okay, let me go make more, build more, become bigger, better, and it's still not filling me up emotionally. That's a scary place to be. And so this is the third level. And I was living in LA here, 5 miles away in an apartment building during 2000, 2001, a really nice apartment building where there were a lot of billionaires, millionaires, celebrities, athletes, all that stuff. And I was driving back one day from a road trip and there was a white tent in the parking lot in the valet. And I said to the valet attendant, I was like, someone didn't jump, did they? Kind of just joking. And he said, yes, someone just jumped like an hour ago and committed suicide from the building I was living in with all these billionaires and millionaires. And I was like, how could someone jump in this building? This is like the nicest building in LA. And I later found out who that person was, who was worth $500 million. A big movie producer, an executive. But for whatever reason, he wasn't feeling rich emotionally. He had all the money in the world, but something was off internally that caused him to not love himself, not accept where he was at in his life. And that, separation of having so much externally, but feeling broken internally can cause a lot of pain for people. Having money can solve money problems, but it can't solve self-worth problems necessarily.
Yep.
You can be a net worth millionaire, but be bankrupt, and not be a self-worth millionaire. And the goal is to go from level 0, level 1 to level 4, which is becoming financially free and also becoming emotionally free, spiritually free, rich abundantly internally, feeling peace. And most people are stressed with money right now. They're uncertain with the economy. They don't know where their money's coming from next month, if they're going to have a job or not, if their business is going to collapse or not. They don't understand. There's so much fear and anxiety. And so they're crippled by the fear internally. And when we can set ourselves free emotionally around money in general, we're going to be money's not going to have power over us. Whether we're making more or making less, we're still going to feel good with us. And that's the whole reason I wanted to write this book.
So true, because increasingly I think peace is the new rich and everyone has everything besides peace.
Yeah.
If you think about it in the US, there are certainly those of us who are still struggling with hunger. Certainly those of us that are still in a place where we have massive scarcity. But like people dying of pure starvation in the US, not that common.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot and yet we feel more anxious and like we have less than ever. And at first I thought you could just fix it by all of us making more money.
Exactly.
That was my tactic.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's just go. Let's teach more people how to make more money.
You can solve money problems.
You can, but you realize very quickly that, the guy at the top is oftentimes just as unhappy or maybe more so because he thought on the way up that he was chasing happiness.
Exactly. And I think we talked about this before. It's like, this is not like a judgment or anything here, but it's when is enough enough? And we can only strive for more and play the game of I'm going to make $10 million, $100 million, $1 billion, cool, whatever. It's fun. But is it doing it because I don't feel enough?
Yeah.
Or because I don't feel peaceful and I need to make more? Or is it doing it because this is what I love and I want to like make a big impact on the world, but I feel good with me whether I make it or I don't. And I think it's getting to that place of being driven by a vision so big or so exciting for you, but not because you need to validate your self-worth.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, yeah, I think the love of the game is why a lot of us continue to do it, but it's brutal. I mean, what would you say to like a young man out there listening to this right now who kind of feels a little lost, destitute, not making money, maybe not even meeting other people, not in a relationship and married like you newly are, and isn't sure where to go next to get even to from level 1 to level 2, just to start making money? Like, what are the changes you made to do that? And what would a young, broke dude who got a chance to talk to Lewis, what would you tell him?
I'd probably say 3 things. The first 3 things that came to mind, I would get a physical practice first, like really master your body, because if you're not feeling confident within yourself, you haven't mastered a routine of rigor or discipline or consistency around some type of working out. And when you master your physical health, or at least you're on a journey of mastering it, doesn't mean you have to have a 6-pack or be shredded or anything like that. But if you have a consistent program with that, 30 to 60 minutes a day, you're going to feel more empowered because you're taking back responsibility of your own agency. Second thing I would say is find a spiritual mentor. When you're lost, you need a spiritual guide in your life. And if you aren't able to tap directly to God or your belief system of why I'm here, then lean on someone you admire. Find someone you admire. I don't care if it's a sports coach, a business leader who follows practices you admire, or a pastor or something like that. Find someone that you admire who is living a life of high values and integrity. Because ultimately, you want to be living that life. You don't want to be living out of integrity, because it may be fun for a while, but you'll always hurt people along the way and ultimately hurt yourself along the way.
By the way, if you're building a business right now and you're stuck or you want to break out to the next level, maybe you're not where you want to be today. Believe me, I've been there many, many times. I want you to know I got you. We help thousands of business owners a year figure out how to scale to the next level. One of my favorite mentors said, every level you have, there's just a higher level and a higher devil. And so if you've been in business for a while and you're doing 6, 7, or 8 figures, there's probably one thing standing in the way of your next level. That's why we host growth and scale workshops 4 times a year throughout the year in Austin, in Miami, in San Diego, and you may be a fit to come to one of them. If it sounds interesting to you to get help on how to scale your business to the next level, you can reach out to my team at the link in the show notes. We believe in you builders, but we also believe that it's a lonely road and you can't do it by yourself.
And then the third thing I would say is to really study and learn about money and make money feel relaxing to you. Most people stress out about it. I stressed about it so much because I didn't understand it. And there's still levels that I don't understand today. It's not like I'm a money expert. I'm not an investing expert or budgeting expert. I've learned how to master these things, but it's more about learning how to have conversations around money where it's fun and you're not fearful around it. Because when you're fearful around something, that thing has power over you. Yep. It triggers you emotionally in your nervous system, and you're afraid to even just tell people your money situation. Most people talk about their sexual intimacy more than they'll talk about their money situation. And if you're willing to have conversations around money and just be more flexible and flowing around these conversations, make it more common, you're going to allow the flow for money to come to you. When we are in fear around something, why would we want that thing to come to us? If we're psychologically, emotionally afraid of it because we don't understand it, we're ultimately going to push it away. We're ultimately going to block the flow of abundance financially to us when we are in fear of that thing. It's an energy flow, and you have to be willing to receive money and be ready and prepared to receive more.
It's actually fascinating. I've never thought about that before, that people are more willing to talk about their sexual intimacy than money.
Yes.
It's actually really true. Some people are willing to talk about money, but only once you have a ton of it at the top. Mm-hmm. And then
people say they don't even reveal what their money or how much they spend.
True. It's like somewhere in the mid, there's some like amount of bravado, about, and then you like hit the real money amount. And you're like, oh, whoops, that's not cool anymore. I shouldn't talk about it. But that's fascinating. Like you've got, more power to however you want to talk about your sexual intimacy, but you've got entire podcasts like Call Her Daddy or whatever. It's really a lot about sex. And there's nobody coming on here talking about money except almost in a shame-based way. Like I like Caleb Hammer, but being like, this was dumb, this was dumb, this is dumb, this is dumb, as opposed to any sort of vulnerability around it. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I just think making it more of a common practice around, hey, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm trying to get to, and being open to having the conversations where it flows more easily.
And is it more like, what would that look like in practice? Like Jesse Itzler, for instance, I remember him saying that he would go to the Beverly Wilshire and he would sit in the lunchroom and he would order like the cheapest thing that was on the menu. And the reason he would do it is because it would allow him to sit around all these really rich people. And then he would ask them, like, he would be like, hey, I don't have a lot of money yet. I'm on my way up. How did you get here? Like, what do you do for a living? And he credits that with his creation of NetJets.
100%. Yeah. And it's just having proximity to those conversations. And I think having them more frequently, even with the people in your life, even if people don't have money, just say, hey, let's talk about this. What are we working on today? What are you struggling with? How much money do you have in debt? Like just talking about it, making it more commonplace. Because the more comfortable you are talking about something, I think the easier it is to go create that thing.
You know, and I really like it because there's a lot of books today talking to us about why money's not important. You know, you don't need money. Money doesn't matter. And I think that happens a lot during recessionary periods. Those books do really, really well. Why? Because you already don't have it. So if somebody can validate that you don't need it, you're like, that sounds good. I'm on board. Also, rich people suck, you know? But,
exactly.
But if you can write a book that is instead like, hey, you're not net worthed by your net worth. Yeah. That's not your self-worth. But you can be okay pursuing it, I think is really, really powerful.
100%. I think if you want to pursue more money, like pursue as much money as you want. It's where is that pursuit coming from? Is it from a need to prove people wrong? Is it coming from a need because you want to validate yourself that you're worthy or you're better than? You're always going to be creating from a sense of scarcity rather than abundance. And when you create from abundance, a emotionally rich place, money can come and go and it's not as stressful. Yeah. There was a company about 1.5 years ago. It was so funny because as I was doing the research for this book and I was writing this book, I hadn't finished it yet. And I was like, I'm still not ready to like finish this book. And for whatever reason, around this time, there was a company that essentially took $1 million from me and that didn't pay me. It was meant to pay me and it didn't pay me. And for weeks, I was like, when are they going to pay? What's going on? It feels like they were stealing from me, right? And I was kind of a mess. I was like, it's $1 million. It's not a small thing. And I felt more taken advantage of. It was more the act of abuse and taking advantage of. And I have stories of feeling taken advantage of as a kid and feeling abused, from sexual abuse to people stealing money from as a kid, all these different things, picked on. And I go, this is perfect timing, actually. After like 2 months of stressing about this, I was like, this is all happening for me because this situation triggered a wound inside of me of abuse, of being taken advantage of a not fairness, right? And it's the exact lesson I still haven't graduated yet. And so after 3 months of this, I finally was like, you know what? They may not pay. It doesn't mean I have to love it, but I get to learn that I'm not tied down by what this company does or doesn't do, that I have an abundant sense inside of me. I can go create this money as well. It doesn't mean I have to like this and be like, yay, this was fun. But right now, this has power over me. It's consuming me. Yeah. And I'm living in scarcity. That scarcity is holding me back from being creative, resourceful, and making better decisions. And so once I started doing some healing work around that, I released it and let it go, and I stopped worrying about it. They eventually paid me. And I was like, okay, great. But now this is a lesson, knowing that when I'm in scarcity or living in fear around something or frustration around something, it's not going to feel good. I'm not feeling abundant when I do this. Mm-hmm. So how can I shift the energy? It doesn't mean I still have to handle it and take action and do certain things, but how can I shift my energy to know I'm going to be resourceful in other ways and I'm going to be okay, whether this money comes or they take it from me. And I think that's been a big lesson for me, is learning how to feel peaceful no matter what. It doesn't mean there's not going to be challenge or adversity, but how can I not let something rob me of my peace?
hard, but really important.
And again, I keep going back to these millionaires and billionaires who are just overly stressed, overly worked, that are on drugs, suicidal, or committing suicide. What's the point of having all the money if you don't love yourself, if you don't have peace? What's the point then? It's just, it doesn't feel like a rich life to me.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because the hard part, I think, is what is the healing practice to that, right? And you know, in my case, I know when I have something that happens that I don't like. One thing happened this morning. It was literally like, you know what my panic words are, Lewis? If you ever text me, hey, we need to talk, instant panic. I don't know I don't know who texted me that originally and something terrible happened.
It triggered some wound.
I just have I go, oh my God, they're leaving me. We're bankrupt. I don't know. Worst case scenario immediately. Oh, every time. And the only way that I've found to get around that at like my level, not at the level I want to be at, is most people kind of hide from tough conversations. And I usually, when I get those, say, hey, like, let's talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, pick up the phone. Let's have a conversation. What do you want to talk about? You know, or if somebody's like, can we talk, but later today or next week? No, let's do it right now. If you're important enough to like mention the talk, we probably should have the talk. So that kind of helps because usually it's never as bad as you think it is.
Yes.
And so you can clear it out. But what else do you do to get past this scarcity mindset? What are your practices?
You got to heal your money wounds. And it may sound a little woo-woo, it may sound a little weird, and people may not want to hear this. But we all have a money story.
Yep.
Based on how we grew up, whether it be our parents teaching us a certain way, either literally speaking a certain way or their energy. My parents fought all the time. It's my memory. I know it wasn't every day, but it felt like frequently. And when they weren't fighting, they weren't showing each other love. The only time they'd show each other love is after a fight. They'd kind of like hug or kiss barely and like try to mend it. But then it was just like a cycle my whole life. And a lot of this was around not having enough money. Stresses around money. So I, in my nervous system, didn't feel emotionally safe with money conversations. So I have these money wounds based on a money story. I also got into a season for about 1.5 years where I would steal at grocery stores, like candy bars and stuff when I was like 10, 11. I had kids steal from me. And there's just kind of all these money wounds, these money memories that creates a money story inside of my mind and also my nervous system. You have money story. Your husband has his unique money story. And that creates our money style. How we spend, how we save, how we think about money, how we talk about money. It creates a money personality style that we are today. And until we heal our money wounds and take ourselves to money therapy, which sounds kind of weird, and mend those wounds, we'll continue to live in a certain personality style and create a strategy around money based on that energetic nervous system response. And that's going to create money, a career, a business from that energy until we shift it and heal it. And it doesn't mean it's good or bad, right or wrong. It just means that's how your personality style is. I know people that never look at their bank account. They just spend based on their money story and their style. I know other people that look obsessively daily and they save every penny because they're worried for whatever reason based on their money story and style. And here's an example I like to give people, and we'll do this with you. Imagine, Cody, that there was money was a person.
Okay.
The idea of money, the representation of all the money in the world was in one person. And that person walked through the door right now and stood right here. What would your initial thought, feeling, or response be if money walked in and stood right in front of you?
Be stoked.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm picturing Elon Musk because I think most of the money does live there. Yeah. I think I'd be like, sweet. I get to like, what's the deal? I want to know what's going on over there.
Okay. Cool.
I think that's my reaction.
You'd be excited. You'd be stoked. You'd be curious.
Yeah.
You'd be open-minded, right?
Yeah.
I've asked this to so many different people. I asked this on Mark Manson's podcast. And you know Mark Manson, the Solar. Yeah. And I go, money walks in the door. What's your first response? He goes, that guy's a douchebag. I was like, really? I go, tell me why. That's his initial response based on his whole life history and a money story. And this guy's a multi-millionaire and makes tons of money with his books and show and everything. But he goes, yeah, he's kind of a stuck-up douchebag. And I don't know if I'd really want him here. And I go, okay, just notice your response. I asked someone in their late 20s, you're at a restaurant, money walks in the door, what do you do? And they said, I would get out of my seat and go to the bar and hide. Then I would start gossiping about money behind its back like it's in the room. Then if it came up to me, I would act like I was its friend. Then I would use and abuse it when I needed money, and I would ghost it if it ever reached out to me. And I was like, that's a very descriptive response and seems very unhealthy. And they were like, yeah, it is. And that's how it shows up in their life, based on their money story and based on their money personality style. That's how money shows up for them. And it doesn't make it right or wrong, good or bad, but is that relationship with money supporting you? With you, it sounds like, man, I'd be stoked if money walked around here. I'd be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Let's be friends. That's what it sounds like for you.
Yeah.
You'd be more like free, flowing, open. You know, I talked to someone else and they said, if money walked in the room, I'd give it a big hug and say, come, sit down, let's chat. It's just like, it doesn't make it good or bad, right or wrong. It's just, is your relationship supporting you in your daily actions around money, in your career, in your business, how you make decisions based on your relationship with it? And when people can start to reflect, I give a ton of exercises in the book on reflecting on your money story to see why you have this money personality style now and to see what your personal relationship with money is, just to assess and see, is this serving me in my life? Is it bringing me more joy or more pain? Yeah. And that's it. This is not about how to be a mega millionaire or billionaire, because that's the key to life. Yeah. This is about, can you live a rich, abundant life inside of you? When you do, it really doesn't matter how much money you do or don't have. It doesn't matter if you have $1 million or 20 million. It's like, you feel good with you, no matter what externally is happening. Then the money is just an additional bonus. It's like, wow, I can do cool things with this. I can help more people. I can give more. I can buy a home. I can do stuff. But you're not living your life based on external validation. It's about internal feelings.
I love doing stuff. I think actually, you know what would be really cool? I would be so curious what would happen, Louis, if you're listening right now. I want you to play a little game with us, and we'll see if anybody will do it.
Yeah.
I want you to tag us in an Instagram story where you describe what your money style is and what your money story is live. Like, I want to know what the story, and just tag Louis and I. I'm so curious to hear what people's immediate reaction is when they see money walk in the door.
That's it. Yeah. And your money story and your money style equals your strategy, how you show up with money in your life today.
Okay, wait. So I want to back up. So first you've got your money story, which is like, if money walked in the door, how would you react?
Well, your money story is more of like all of the memories and wounds that you have around money. It could be good things. It could be negative things that you remember growing up. That is like, when I grew up, my dad and mom said, like, money doesn't grow on trees. And they were stingy and they didn't give me an allowance and I had to work hard for my money, and it was all about hard work or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or it could have been like, man, my parents taught me that money comes freely to me when you add value.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to just be a value-driven individual. And I learned that money flows abundantly and it doesn't like consume me. You know, whatever your personality or your story is around money.
And you write down.
You write those down. What are those memories? What are those memories that you can think of? What are the painful ones, the good ones? Mix it all together. That's your story. Write those down. Then think about your money personality style. How do you spend money? How do you save money? Do you invest your money, or do you just put it in a savings account? Do you not know what your money is because you got so much debt that you're afraid and ashamed to look at it? You know, a lot of people are just like, when I had credit card debt, I didn't want to look at it. So I was like ashamed of it. I was like, I just want this to go away. And so I had to really start taking a look at things differently and say, oh, why am I avoiding money? Why am I avoidant of this? I was afraid of it. So I was strategically doing things in life based on my style and my story. And this whole, if money was a person and it walked in the room, that's more just to see what your relationship with money is. If it was a person, because I believe money is it's an intimate emotional thing. Most people have an emotional reaction with money. And emotions come from human beings. And so if you have an emotional reaction to something, imagine if it was a person. When you receive money, are you grateful and appreciative of the money you receive? Or are you like, gosh, stressed out, anxious, and just like frustrated with it?
Mm-hmm.
And imagine if you were always frustrated with a person in your life, how do you think they would feel? They wouldn't enjoy it. Imagine if you were never appreciative of them. You would never express gratitude towards them, especially an intimate partner. They'd probably leave you after a period of time. Or the relationship would not work. And if you thought of money when it came and when it left as an intimate relationship, and you said, it's weird as it may sound, money comes to me, and if you said, thank you so much for being with me, where would you like to go? What do you want to do? It's weird thinking of it as a person.
I'm
It's
kind
a
of
dollar.
into it.
If you're $1, $100,000, $1 million comes in your bank account, and you just say, thank you, money, for being here, where do you want to go? Do you want me to give you away today? Do you want me to use part of you to buy something for myself? Do you want me to invest in you and put you in somewhere? Do you want to go in the stock market? Do you want me to put you in real estate? Should I hire someone and help them in their life and their dreams with your money today? Where do you want to go? And almost asking it, role playing, as weird as this sounds, I feel like you'll have a better relationship with money when you invest and appreciate the money that comes to you.
You know what's weird is it is woo-woo, but I think that if you don't do things like this, you can have all the tactics in the world and you will still be broke. And, what's fascinating, how did you come up with this?
Studying, asking, 12 years of research, asking all the wealthy people in the world that I knew.
And all your notebooks while you
and
read
all the
podcast.
therapists that I've interviewed and all the healing work I've done on intimacy and relationships. And I realized from some of my biggest episodes around money, and I just would ask people, what's your biggest challenge with money? What's your biggest fear? What's holding you back? What's blocking you? What's your limiting beliefs? And it always came back to this relationship with money. And I know this because I had a bad relationship with it for a long time. And it took years to kind of heal and learn these things and figure out, how can I feel emotionally free with money? Because I don't want money to have power over me.
Yeah.
And even a year and a half ago, I thought I was free with money, and something triggered me. Something hit the emotional, psychological wound of stealing my money. And it made me furious. And I realized it still has power over me.
Yeah.
I'm still not free with money emotionally. And this relationship of me and money is not good still. Maybe in certain areas, but not every area. And I'm sure there's more levels for this. It's not like I've mastered this. This is about me exploring how to set myself emotionally free and have tools that if I ever go back into pain, how do I create freedom quicker?
That's so good.
And again, I just know so many people that I'd ask questions to about what are their struggles around money? What are their fears, their concerns, their insecurities? People are living in fear around money. And that fear is blocking their abundance. It's blocking their ability to earn more and feel free with the money they're earning.
Yeah, and even to learn about how to make money. Because I think a lot of the reasons I go straight to tactics, because apparently I'm buddies with money. I don't know why, but I like him.
You walked in, you're like, hey, let's hang out.
Sup, what you got? But that's why I want to go to tactics immediately, because I'm like, oh, tell me. But
most people can't even go there because they don't have a relationship with it.
They cannot.
Toxic. Their whole relationship is broken.
100%.
So how are you going to do tactics if you can't even be in a room with money?
Yeah, 100%.
If you got an intimate partner in front of you and you don't feel emotionally safe to have an open, vulnerable conversation as a tactic, you've got to do the healing work on you first before you can actually look someone in the eyes and say, hey, you hurt me. Hey, this upset me. I want to talk about it calmly, consciously. Instead of, you hurt me. It's like when you are so reactive or fearful and wounded, you respond based out of a wound, not out of wisdom, not out of like conscious communication, not out of clarity. It doesn't mean everything's going to be comfortable in your life. These are about, you're going to have uncomfortable conversations. But how can you have those uncomfortable conversations like you do from a place of, when someone says that we need to talk, you try to lean into it right away. It doesn't mean it's easy, but you consciously lean in and say, what can we do to make this better?
100%.
You don't avoid it.
No.
You don't run from it. You do the uncomfortable thing, but you try to mend it faster.
Yeah. But it's a great point because, You know what would be sweet? I don't know. You don't have this in the book, I don't think, but like, I would love a quiz on personality types with money.
Oh, I've got a whole chapter with a quiz.
No, but you don't have like where you can go and click and say
got a
you're
quiz.
this on your website?
Yes.
What's the website?
Well, I mean, it's in the book, and I've got the code in here. I have to find the actual link
so you
for
gotta you
MakeMoneyEasyBook.com
Okay, perfect.
is the website, but there's a whole
So you
chapter
buy the book.
with a quiz you can take here,
And is there
and
an
it tells you your
avatar?
personality style. Yes.
Okay, so what are you?
Well, I'll tell you this right now. Let me find this page so I can tell the exact process of
Tell me
this.
when you're ready,
Yes.
and I'll tell a story in the meantime. So I remember I was speaking at a women's event.
Yes.
And it was a finance women's event with a bunch of like kind of pretty wealthy women, all in leadership roles. And this is when I realized that a book like yours was really needed, but I had no answers to this question then.
Yep.
I was going to go on and speak about how to do asset investing at like a high level, alternative investing, blah, blah, blah. But first they had this woo-woo chick in Austin come on and talk
Who
about...
was it? Do you remember?
You know, I don't. I remember a lot of feathers and like
hat,
there were
big hat.
beads. There
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a hat, and I was judgy. I was immediately judgy,
Yes.
and yet this woman came on and she blew my mind. She had us all close our eyes. She
And?
said, "In the audience, everybody close your eyes, and I want you to visualize money, and I want your body to become a visual representation of your feeling of money."
I love it.
And so immediately,
Very woo.
yeah, very woo. And I'm like opening one eye slightly, but my hands like went up. I was like, money, I want it. I like it. And I kind of thought that would be everybody. And she said, now freeze, keep your eyes closed. Now open your eyes. And she had us look around.
And how many people had their hands up?
Oh, maybe like me and one other chick.
Wow.
And almost everybody else was, some of them might've been like this or like
Yeah.
this or like this. And that's when I realized, whoa, in this area, I'm messed up in many, many, many areas. But in this one, this is such a wound for people. And if
Big
we don't
wound.
heal the wound, then we definitely cannot apply, a new foundation. We can't apply growth. We can't extend.
Exactly. It's got to heal the wound.
Yeah.
And you were like free. You were like, I'm ready,
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I
Most
still
people
freak
are-
out about money sometimes.
But most people are blocked. You have a different thing. You know,
That was just, I want too much of it. This is what you did to me on your podcast.
you have a
You're
different
like,
thing where it's like, I was like, what's enough? And you're like, I don't know. Like, you're like, there is not enough. You're like, I need it all. And it's not a right or wrong, good or bad conversation, but it's just why?
Yeah.
It doesn't make it wrong. Where is that coming from? That's it. And then you held back the tears. You're like, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to close down right now. I was like, okay, cool.
You did. You're
But there
like,
was
what would
something-
it look like if
Yeah.
you were enough? And I was like, shut up,
Like,
Lewis. Stop.
next topic.
Yeah, stop trying to make me emotional.
And
But
it
you're
doesn't
right.
mean you don't have to like reach your ultimate potential and go for what you want to go for. I'm not saying that, but where is it coming from? And, I don't know if you've reflected on that at all, but it's like, I think your money, I can't remember what was enough for you. You're like, I want 100 million. No, I want $1 billion or something. I was like,
It just
okay,
kept going bigger.
why? And is your number still $1 billion or is it bigger now?
Well, I think some of the stuff that's helped me lately, we've talked about this, is that I want a family and I want,
Yeah, it's hard to.
yeah, and I have to make space for that. And there's got to be another priority.
Trad wife.
Yeah, I want to be a
You gotta be a
trad
trad
wife.
wife.
I know this.
Hashtag
secretly.
trad wife life.
Oh my God, I want to be in sundresses, just prancing
You
around
know,
like a
in the
happy little
woods,
mother.
cabin. Yeah, with the little.
That's why I judged the chick. I wanted the hat and the
I know.
beads.
Yeah,
Full
you
circle,
did.
probably.
You wanted to feel emotionally free.
Exactly.
But it's hard to be going for $1 billion business brand and be in your heart all day
Yeah.
and be like emotionally open and have flexibility and space for like chaos with kids running around and just being open to like cleaning diapers and like feeding and just listening to your kids like gobbledygook or whatever when they're kids.
Yeah.
Like you have to create that emotional space, that emotional freedom in order to be present. And if you're always in your head of like, we got to grow and build, you don't have space for that.
Yeah.
And it's not a good or bad, right or wrong thing. It's like, what do you want? What's your vision?
Yeah. And what's your season?
And
too?
$1 billion, what is that going to do for you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, buy you more planes than $100 million? Like, I don't know,
Probably
like cool.
Not a big difference between.
And then what? You're going to give a lot of it away or buy more sports teams or invest in cool stuff. But it's like, for what? To manage more problems?
Yep. That's very true.
And at the end of the day, what is it that you want to feel? What is $1 billion going to make you feel when you hit that?
Higher level, higher devils.
And so for me, it's like what I'm hearing your heart say, and maybe it's the season of life or I don't know, clock ticking or whatever it might be, or you just feel like, okay, I also want this, that there's some richness and joy to that as well. That's probably more than $1 billion will ever give you.
Yeah. I've definitely felt it more. I mean, for young people that really want money, I love that pursuit. I think there's like a level of happiness that comes with being able to cover your basic needs. But man, I think you and I have both felt this. The happiest source of joy in my life is my husband.
Exactly.
You know, and he's also the biggest pain in my ass sometimes, but mostly joy.
Yeah.
But I want to get to this style quiz.
Yeah, there's 4 different, page 43 of my book. There's a whole quiz that you'll go through and then add up your number or whatever. But there's these different styles that each person has. And one is called the director, but there's also a shadow style.
Which one do you think I am?
There's the director, the energizer, the shepherd, and the analyzer. You're probably a director. This is the benefits of a director are a self-starter, focused on results, favors facts over feelings, which is all about you. You don't have feelings. No, I'm just teasing.
None.
You're not intimidated by challenges. You're willing to make tough decisions. You're cool under pressure, and you have a strong action bias. But there are...
Then what's the shadow?
Well, the shadow is the interesting part. The director becomes the dictator.
Oh,
and so the weakness is they don't value input, doesn't value input. They avoid helpful routines and details sometimes. They struggle to think of others, mostly thinking about your needs. Overcommit self and others to too many things, sacrifices healthy practices, doesn't want to wait, very impatient, expresses discontent, or appears uncaring. So it might be you.
Check.
Yeah, I mean, but that's if you go in like the dark side of your personality style.
But that's amazing. So they should read the book, then take your personality style. Because then when you listen, I kind of am a believer, and I'm curious what you think. I think we can change, but not a lot. And so it's like, I'll probably always have a little bit of the dictator. I'll probably have a little bit of the director. But then it's just making sure you lead more from the light than the dark.
And the more you heal, the more you lean into the light side.
Right.
And that's the key. Like you're always going to have that style, but how can you have a healthier version of that style?
Right.
And not the dark version of that style. When I was, 10, 12 years ago, I just was down, like I was making all this money, but my ego was coming out, and I was so wounded in so many places that it was like aggressive everywhere with everyone in certain areas. And I was like, what is wrong with me? It's like this money was revealing more of who I was, of the dark side inside of me. Sure, it showed the light side as well, but when I was triggered emotionally, that came out even bigger. And money doesn't heal who you are, it reveals who you are. And until you learn to heal, then it's just going to reveal the better part of you.
So if you had to think about the steps that you would take to get money, it sounds like one of the first ones is going through these certain levels.
Yes.
And then what do you do next? So now you've got your style. Now you've got your story. Now you've got your personality.
Yes.
What do you do next?
So the first part is really understanding and having awareness about you. That's what it is. It's like reflecting on my story, reflecting on my style, getting my personality style so I understand what that is, and then reflecting on my whole strategy around money my entire life to where I am today. And once I have a kind of a blueprint around what that is, then there are 7 habits for creating financial freedom. And once we start to heal and mend and take ourselves to money therapy, then we can create financial success from a healthier place. Not from a place of, I need to prove myself, I'm not enough, I need more to feel good about me, or this will bring me happiness. So once we get to that kind of foundation first, then there's 7 habits. The first one is the mindset habit. And this is what I think a lot of people think, when I have money, then I'll give, then I'll be more generous. But the wealthiest people in the world start with generosity, even when they don't have a lot to give. I'm sure you've heard the Tony Robbins story about when he had like $10 in his pocket one day. He was like going broke. He had no money. He didn't know where the money was going to come in. And he was at a restaurant. He took himself to like his final dinner. He was like, all right, I'm broke after this dinner. And he found a young boy who was with his mother. And he went up to the young boy and said, you're paying for your mother, and here's the money. And he gave his last like $5, $10 away for this dinner. And he said he leapt out of the restaurant. Like the feeling of giving it, even though it was his last dollars, made him feel so alive. The generosity of giving a few dollars for this act of generosity. And he said, he went home and someone called him and who owed him money and sent him the money that day, and more money started coming in. Now, that might have been a synchronicity. Who knows? But it was more about the feeling of generosity. And again, if you don't have money, you don't have to give it.
Yep.
But what can you give initially? Again, when I was broke, I reached out to thousands of people literally on LinkedIn in 2007, 8, and 9, and built relationships with people by asking them questions. That curiosity, people don't want you to ask them for advice, but they love talking about their story of how they overcame challenges to achieving their success.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get the same answers either way, but you're giving to someone when you say, can you tell me how you overcame this season of life? It seems fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Versus, can you give me advice on how to get a job?
Yeah.
No one wants to give their time to someone else, but they'll give of their storytelling about how they overcame something, and they'll give you hours of their time.
It's so true.
It's just a simple switch. How many people could you say, I love to, get 5 minutes of your time to pick your brain? It's like, you don't have time. You're busy. You can't give someone freely of this time that you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe if someone wrote you a nice email and was just like, man, I really love the business you did back 7 years ago. And they really researched and said they found something you did. They're like, that was so cool. And how you jumped from here to here. I would love to hear that story if you have a few minutes to share it. Maybe you won't have the time, but you're more likely to have the time if it's the right timing for you to say, yeah, I'm happy to email you or jump on a call, or maybe we can meet in the future. You're more open to it. Anyways, the mindset habit is about being generous. And if you don't have money.
I want to double tap on that for
Yes.
a second, because one of my favorite quotes from one of my smartest mentors, Donald Park, was, if you want money, ask for advice. And if you want advice, ask for money. And I love that, because it's basically another level to what you're saying, which is, especially when you start, asking people to invest in your stuff, asking for a raise, asking for whatever. We think the direct path is the best, which is, I would like a raise, or I would like you to invest in this, or I would like you to X with money. But if instead you said, I saw, Louis, that at this point in your life, you did this X thing. How did you end up breaking up with
Yes.
money then? What was that like? Or if you said to your boss, hey, if one day I wanted to get a raise,
What would it take?
what would it take? What would
Yeah.
that look like? What are you actually doing? You're asking for a raise,
Exactly.
but you're asking for advice, which feels much cleaner.
Yes.
So I think that's really, really powerful. And if you can switch that up, I love it.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing tactically on that is what does that look like for you daily?
Back then it was me emailing people on LinkedIn constantly.
And it was just one question.
I tried to find 3 points of connection within
Okay.
every message.
Mm-hmm.
In the first line, I would find something that we had in common somehow. Even if it was, I see we're both from the same city. I would just, whatever I could find, I would try to add that in there.
Uh-huh.
And then the second line, I would talk about something where I'm really inspired by what they've done. I really like what you created here at Sports Illustrated. I was back in the sports world early on, and how you've built this brand. So I was just emailing CEOs. And then I was always trying to find another point of connection within the third line, which is, finding, it was usually on LinkedIn, it was who you have in common.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see we're both connected to so-and-so as our second degree connection. And I was just chatting with them last week about you, and they really love what you helped them with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd always find a connecting person
Mm-hmm.
that we had in common.
Mm-hmm.
I'd find some couple points of interest that we had in common as well. And then I'd try to acknowledge them for what they've created.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say, I'd love to learn more about how you did this. And when I originally started doing this, I was just asking people for advice and no one replied. Then I was like, oh, you got to kind of butter people up a little bit and be more intentional about it and do some research and be more thoughtful about them, not about what I need.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I did that, I just repeated it and everyone started replying to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then people were taking me out to lunch and paying for me to learn from them when I was broke. It's oh, there's something to this. And that's actually what inspired me to launch the School of Greatness. I was having all these fascinating conversations with people way more successful than me. And I was like, if people could only hear these conversations, they would be able to build a business like I've just done in the last few years. I was like, why don't I just start recording these things and put them out there? And that's essentially why School of Greatness is born.
That's wild. I mean, I've listened to you for years, as you
Yeah.
know. But it is, even now, like, as successful as maybe somebody, might think you or I are, there are dark days and hard days that I put on School of Greatness, or I put on Founders Podcast, or I put on one of our other friends' podcasts. And I just listen. Like, I'm feeling a little lost. And so I want to pick up, I want to steal just a little bit of that, like, energy, that contagion, like you talked about.
Yes.
And so I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's this generosity and constant reach out.
And gratitude.
Yeah.
When you're broke, you're not grateful by default.
Yeah.
You're frustrated. You're resentful of the government. You're resentful of who's in, which political party's in power and what they're not giving you. You're frustrated that they took away this grant or these loans or this thing. You're like, I'm not getting what I want and they're not taking care of me. Mm-hmm. Or there's some resentment or frustration, typically, not by everyone. So you've got to learn to shift it and say, what am I grateful for? And living in gratitude and generosity. That's the first principle. Most people say, I'll be grateful, I'll be generous when I have more money.
Yeah.
You need to make that the first principle, the first tactic, and the first feeling, and meshing them together. How can I be a giver? And what that looks like for me now is when I see someone like you doing so well, I reach out to you. I'll send a voice note, a video message, a text, and say, God, this is amazing what you're doing. Keep crushing it. If I can help with anything, let me know. And if you're looking for advice on this in the future, I got your back. It doesn't have to be a lot.
Yeah.
Or it could be, hey, just thinking about you lately, what's the biggest challenge you're faced with right now in your business? And just doing that once every few months, or what's the biggest challenge you're having in life with it right now with your friends? Doing that once every few months with your top 20 connections and just being top of mind. And then when they tell you their biggest challenge, solve it as fast as you can. Because it's usually a pain they've had for months.
Yeah.
And when you solve their problem, and when you also connect them with one person who is the solution, you're now you're not just helping one person, you're actually helping two people expand. And then you become the champion of their relationship. Mm. They always talk about, man, so grateful for Lewis for connecting us. I have two buddies of mine that both, I did this like 4 years ago with two friends of mine. And one guy was like, I'm trying to figure out social media. Can you help me, like, what you do? And I was like, it's not something I do for someone. I can give you strategy, but I know a guy, if you're looking for someone to help you run this. And I reached out to the guy and said, hey, this person's looking for this. Can you help him? He said, yes. I connect them. Literally a year and a half later, they send me a car to my apartment building because they made like $10 million together. Over this next like couple of years, maybe it was 2.5 years. They do $10 million together, and they think of me as the champion of their wealth, of their abundance, of their success. They did all the work, but I was the champion that connected them. I thought about both of them, how they could both succeed. And they sent me a car as a gift, as a thank you. And it's just when you can do that for someone, you're expanding people's opportunities for success and growth. And you become the champion. They always want to give back. If they're good people, they're going to want to give back. And just reach out to your friends, your family, say, what's your biggest challenge right now? How can I help? And try to solve it. Like, call someone right then and say, I got the person. Let me three-way you in now. Like, do it now. And then I learned this by hosting LinkedIn networking events in 2008, 2009. I did 20 events around the country using LinkedIn as the platform to market these LinkedIn networking events. Yeah. And the economy was crashing. People were struggling. This is how I got started. And every person that walked in the door, I'd say, what's your name? Put a name tag on them. And I'd say, what's your business and what's your biggest challenge? And then 10 people later, I'd say, what's your name? What's your business? What's your biggest challenge? And I'd be like, oh, someone was a graphic designer and someone needs graphic design services. I would take this person and walk them to them and say, connect. Do your deal now. And I would do that for everyone that would come to the events. And they were all succeeding, sending me emails and letters and referrals and commissions for just connecting the dots.
Well, you did that for me with Rory, remember, in the book. And so because of that, I learned all about the inside of books and never would have done it. So it's really good. And I feel like the only way you can kill this practice of gratitude is by expecting something in return, right?
Yes.
So if you do this, you can't get mad when they never send you the car.
Yeah. And
You
I wasn't
can't get mad.
expecting it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like the key. All right. We've got point one.
Yes.
Let's do 2 and 3.
Okay.
And then we're going to make them read your book for the
Yes.
others.
The second one is the mapping habit. And this is really kind of creating a map and almost like a game plan for how much money you want to make. This is Codie Sanchez like tactics. I want to make a billionaire. Okay. So it's why do we want to be a billionaire? What's the process for getting there? And how am I going to get there? And what's this next season of life, these next 3 to 6 months that I'm going to start working towards this? What's the map? What's the game plan? Creating micro goals, bigger goals, and starting to strategize how to get there. When I was broke on my sister's couch, I was like, I just want more money. And I was like, okay, a mentor was like, you got to get clear.
Yep.
Just in the next 3 months, how much do you want to make? You're broke. You're not going to be a millionaire in a year. Maybe, but it's like, just plan for 3 months. What do you want? I was like, I want $5,000. And he goes, how do you want to make it? Tell me if you could do it doing anything. I go, I want to make it giving a speech. I want to speak and get paid $5,000. And at the time I was learning public speaking and Toastmasters. So I was developing the skill, but I was not that good yet. But he said, okay, are you willing to go all in on this? Because you're so far away from $5,000 at this point, broke on my sister's couch. And I was like, I'm willing to go all in. He goes, put a date by when you want to accomplish this by. I want you to sign it and certify it, make a certification and put it on your wall and look at it every day and then take an action every single day to go make that $5,000. And the first week may just be, I'm going to go give 3 speeches for free and get reps. I'm going to get coaching. I'm going to get feedback. Then I'm going to charge, $5 for like a ticket to a workshop. Then I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to keep giving free, like whatever it is, map out the game plan to make that $5,000. Within 3 months, I made $5,000 on one speech. And I made money along the way, a little bit here and there, by taking the action on the mapping habit. So get clear on your goal. If yours is $1 billion, by when?
Yep.
What's the strategy? What's the yearly strategy? How are you going to break it down seasonally? Who are the people you need to hire? It's creating that game plan and map, and then signing a certificate to yourself from you and dating it and framing it and saying, this is going to happen. And it doesn't matter actually if it happens or not, but it's creating a clear intention, going back to that energetic feeling of this is happening. What do I need to do to make it happen? And just getting clear. The third one is the monetizing habit. This is something that when I was, again, broke on my sister's couch, I didn't know how to monetize anything because I didn't understand money. I didn't have a college degree yet, and I didn't know who would give me money. So I had to learn what are these intangibles, these hidden assets that I could monetize because I didn't have any hard skills that were monetizable. And these are some of the things I'm talking about, learning how to build relationships, connecting people, overcoming fears, overcoming self-doubt, setting clear goals, accomplishing them. It was just like having passion and energy, asking dumb questions to smart people. I didn't think these were skills, but who would have thought asking dumb questions to millionaires for years would have helped me build a business, would have turned into a 12-year podcast, one of the biggest podcasts in the world. I never thought I could make money asking dumb questions, and that's what I do every day. But it's learning about what are these hidden skills, these hidden assets that you don't think you have, starting to develop those and bring those out. And I talk about how to find and monetize your uniqueness that can really bring that out and bring abundance into your life. I'm telling you, I didn't think I could do any of this. I was so dumb. I was so insecure. I had no skills. I almost flunked out of college and I almost flunked out of high school, and I needed tutors every year. And I was in special needs classes. So I didn't have the skill set to go get a job or do these things. But I learned how to monetize my inner world and my inner skills for external financial success. And you can too.
It's so good. Yeah, I wonder if in the future there'll be like a little money gym, sort of like there's a physical gym, like, because you can see thinking about these ideas, it is therapy, but it's a different type.
It is.
If our international language right now is money,
Yep.
and it is the one thing that we all spend most of our life in pursuit of besides sleeping, but yet we spend so little time learning about it.
Yes.
We spend so little time diagnosing it, and then we spend so little time figuring out our decision making on it or coming up with daily habits on it. So no wonder we're broke. 47% of Americans die broke. And why? Because we don't know how to habituate it. We don't know how to diagnose it.
Yeah.
And then we don't know how to make decisions on it.
I mean, unless you're Bill Perkins and you want to die broke,
Exactly.
die with zero. But doesn't mean you die. You lived rich, but you end with
Believe
zero.
me, he's doing just fine. That guy,
people, but most people live with zero and die with zero.
That's right.
He lives abundantly, but he's planning to give it all away at the end of his life, I guess, which is a different strategy. So, yeah, the goal is to really figure out what your inner currency is and how to maximize that and monetize your inner currency.
What's been the coolest thing that's happened since you've put out the book? Have a bunch of people responded about it yet?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's more of like, going on tour was really cool to just see people and share these concepts and get people opening up. For me, and again, it's this little woo-woo, but it's getting people to open their heart to feel like they are worthy of their life. It's feeling I am worthy of the pursuit that I'm creating, whether I'm making tons of money, a little money, some money, no money, but reminding people of their worthiness. Because when I believe people are more self-confident, more self-worthy, they create and attract opportunities. You become wealthier financially. A person who lacks confidence and self-worth is usually going to sabotage good things when they come to them. And so you might be able to make something, but then you're like, I'm guilty and ashamed that I have this. It's learning to step into your power and your worth, not in an egotistic way, but just in a conscious, loving way. And saying, how can I be a giver? How can I be grateful for all that I've received? And how can I be generous in life? And I think that's a worthy life.
Yeah, but also a lot of the woo-woo stuff, people get mad about it with money because it's not tactical.
Yeah.
This is very tactical, which is why I think it's pretty rare, actually. I mean, I've read just about every book I could find on money because I do find it fascinating. But when people ask me, what are the steps to become rich when you have no money? My answer is typically
tactics.
You got to go obsess on your skill set and earn more.
Yes.
And you got to obsess on learning more. That's like 100%. Step 1 and 2.
And I did that.
But not without this.
But I did that and I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I made money and it solved money problems, but all my relationships were broken.
Yeah.
And I was emotionally broken. So I was like, well, I just need to be bigger and better and be number one always. And if I drop down anywhere and I make less money one year than the next year, then I'm going to be stressed out and frustrated and I'm going to be angrier and I need to go make more and work harder. And I was exhausted. Yeah. It was exhausting. And it doesn't mean it wasn't fun at times. It's nicer to have money than to not have money. I don't want to go back on my sister's couch. And that fear of not wanting to go back made me like hold on to it more as opposed to being more relaxed and flowing and allowing it to come and go and appreciating when it's here and saying, thank you for being here. And I got to spend you here. Great. I'm excited for that as well. And it was that journey of healing and understanding, oh, what's my money wiring? Why am I this way? Oh, let me just reflect on some of these stories and like, oh, I guess that's why my nervous system, I react around money in these situations naturally because that's what happened to me growing up. So let me start to mend those things so that I can actually feel rich and be rich.
Is there a difference between men and women that you've seen and the way they think about money writ large?
Probably, but I'm not sure how to explain it right now. And I'm also, my wife is really smart when it comes to a lot of things, but she studied money for most of her life and she had a healthy relationship with it when she was younger. Like she would tell me stories of like, they grew up in, poor Mexico, in the south of Mexico. They didn't have a lot of money growing up, but her dad, whenever they would have money, he'd have like her and her siblings on the bed, like throwing money in the air, jumping and saying, money is good. Money is fun. Like we are happy and money, we love money and money loves us. These are like things that she would say. And her dad would create these environments, even though he didn't have a lot of money. But it was creating like an emotional connection with money that money is a good thing. People with money aren't evil. People with money aren't bad. Maybe some people are, but it doesn't mean you have to be. And it can feel good with it. So she always had a healthy relationship with it. She started making money when she was younger. She was in her late teens. She was doing TV and movies. And she's like, she went to seminars. She went to like Rich Dad, Poor Dad seminars 20 years ago.
That's
You know,
wild.
and she was like studying books and learning. And I think that mindset of like, I'm going to keep learning and I'm going to have a healthy relationship with it. And it doesn't have power over me. It's for her, I think that's rare in women because a lot of women I haven't met that do that. I think a lot of women have been, maybe it's shifted now in the girl boss era, but I think a lot of women maybe just haven't been as invested in learning and invested in investing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you know Chris Powell. Do you know him? He was on Iced Coffee Hour recently.
Okay.
But I just had him on yesterday, and he was like, I've been trying to get women for years to invest. And it's been like pulling teeth trying to get people to just invest $10 a month in the stock market. And so he's like, it's been so hard to get women to invest. And I'm not sure why that is, but maybe you see it differently with your community because you're attracting women who want to do what you do.
Well, I have found that, you know, if you're a woman out there talking about money consistently, it's a little, some people can perceive it as gauche or
Gauche? What
like,
is this?
It's just like
Trad wife?
like exactly.
Is this another term that I don't know?
I wish. Like a little showy,
Oh,
like
yeah,
not
yeah.
in good taste.
Yeah.
And I have found, you know what's interesting, actually, Louis? I can quantify this. In our group, at first, they wanted a separate group in our business buying community for the women. They wanted like a
Really?
separate channel, basically, in our Slack. And we have these different channels about different types of deals and industries and sectors. And they were like, we want a women business buying thing. And my immediate reaction was, no.
Why?
No. Like, your vagina, my vagina have nothing to do with whether you can buy a business or not.
Exactly.
Totally unrelated. But then I talked to a few of them, and that made a few mad. And so they talked to me about it, and I can sometimes be brash. So I was like, well, let me hear you. Let's talk to me through this.
What'd they say?
That they were embarrassed. They were embarrassed about some of the questions that they
yeah,
had. They had
interesting.
shame about the size of the deals they had versus the other guys. They were scared about how they negotiated versus others.
And this is the thing. When we are living in fear, shame, or guilt around these things, we are limiting our power and our ability to make decisions. Or we have to like hide in different types of groups and say, I'm only going to talk to these people.
Yeah.
That means money or these deals or the flow of money has some type of power over you because you are ashamed to talk about it to other people.
Yeah.
This is not a right or wrong, good or bad conversation. This is is that supporting and serving your life? Do you feel free when you have to hide yourself and have conversations in limited groups versus with anyone?
Yep.
And that's why in the beginning of the conversation, I was saying, start having conversations with everyone around money. You don't have to reveal what's in your bank account day one, but start just, hey, what's your thoughts on money? What do you think about when money comes to you? Or do you ever think about investing? If so, what do you think about it? What's your process look like? Just having some general conversations and feeling more safe in those conversations with girlfriends, with guy friends, with colleagues, whatever it might be, so you are in power, not feeling like it has power over you.
It's just so necessary because with those women, what I eventually said was, instead of doing that, can I push you guys to have this conversation in the main group?
Yeah.
And I will lead it. I'll like lead it off. I'll tell some embarrassing things about me first because you are self-limiting by going to this group because the average net worth of the woman in our group is lower than the men. You guys also are doing slightly smaller deals than the guys on average. So if you pull yourselves over here into a group of people that have less money, that do smaller deals, what are you replicating? Well, now you're in a group that's smaller when the whole point of you being in here is for you to be in a group of other winners. And so we eventually sort of compromised on this idea. And I said, listen, if anybody's rude to you, if anything negative happens, like you ping me direct and I will make sure that I handle it. But can I please push you slightly to go bigger?
Yeah, and I'm all for people like, being in safe environments and having safe settings when they're talking about something that's vulnerable for you. I'm not saying you have to do this right away with billionaires because you're not going to know what they know.
Right.
But I think is also a process of, that's why it is important to read books or watch your show and get mentorship and be in these types of groups because it's going to expose you to feeling more comfortable over time. And I wasn't comfortable within my first year of learning stuff. It still takes time, but I'm also now comfortable knowing that I don't know a lot. And when you think you've learned a lot about money, you actually realize you don't know that much at all still. There's like different levels. You're like, what are these people doing? I don't know what this terminology is. I'm still a beginner, it seems like. But I'm okay that I'm a beginner, and I'm okay to say, well, this is where I'm at. And if that's embarrassing to me, then it doesn't matter as much anymore. And I think learning to be okay with who I am, with where I'm at, no matter what environment or setting I'm in, is power. And it's having that courage that makes you feel more empowered as well.
Yeah, the only embarrassing way that you can do this is by trying to pretend you're something you're not.
Exactly.
Because then people can see. But if you're pretty candid about the fact that, yeah, man, I'm not making as much as I want to, and I know you guys have 7 figures over here, I'm working on my first 5. I'd love to hear more about what you would do if you only had 5.
Yeah.
People are like, great,
Let me help
that's
you.
raw.
Yeah, and they want to help you. When you're real and raw about where you're at, the right people will be inspired by your vulnerability and say, hey, if you ever want to talk about it, let me know. I'm happy to support you getting here. Here's some things I would do that I would avoid. And if they're not encouraging, get out of those communities and groups.
Great point.
You know, find people in other groups that are more supportive and safe.
I am so glad you came on today, Lewis Howes. Make money easy. I can't wait to see everybody tag us in their videos of their money personality and relationship. And I'm really excited to pass on this book. I think this is the missing piece that I didn't have, where, you know, before you go buy a business, make sure you understand how your relationship with money is. So I'm going to plug it right in.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here.
I don't want people to sabotage the deals they make because they feel unworthy or insecure, or they feel like, oh, now that this is happening, I'm in a breakdown. What do I do? And let me retreat because emotionally I don't feel safe. So the goal is not to retreat. It's to say, how can I go through this challenge and adversity within my business and expand and overcome it, not retreat.
Make money easy. Go buy the book everywhere books are bought. Follow Lewis Howes on all the varying sites, but my favorite is School of Greatness. It's on YouTube and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Lewis, you're the man. Thanks for being here. You guys, tell me if you felt the same way that I felt about this episode. Was this as useful and insane as I thought it was? I hope that hundreds of thousands of you are watching this on YouTube, and I know that hundreds of thousands of you are listening to it just about everywhere. If you found this impactful, do me a solid. Tag me on Instagram and let me know that you are about to get that money because of this episode. I want to see all the stories about you out there making money and making impact because you are a big deal to me. Until next time. Hey guys, if you've ever thought about buying a business, we've built what I think is the best acquisitions and business buying community and education curriculum in the world. If you've ever thought about wanting to buy or own a business, or if you want to add more businesses to the mix, it's called the Contrarian Community. And what this is the goal is we give you the 3 things that the best business buyers use: your own advisory team, your own investment committee, and a deal team. We get together each week to review deals live and beat up all the deals that you're currently looking at while you simultaneously learn the best way possible, which is called modeling, by seeing other people put together deals. This is how private equity buys businesses. This is how investment teams work. And we're stealing the methods from Wall Street and giving them to you. If this is interesting to you, go to click the link and you can actually talk to my team direct about if this is a fit or not. We can help guide you. The link is in the show description.